a sunny September afternoon, the reborn Renegades look for their first ever winning streak against Calgary today.
Hey, desperate times call for desperate measures. Be alert for almost anything in this one.
We have a perfect afternoon for it as we look out over the Bank Street Bridge. 23 degrees. The wind won't be a factor in the early going, and the field is dry.
Wally Buono, the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, has 150 wins as a head coach, good for second place all time. 151 has been hard to come by.
Joe Pau is excited about a couple of speedy new talents that he's added to his football team in recent weeks, and we'll get a preview of a couple of those guys here this afternoon. Key game for both teams as Antonio Warren, who has rejoined the Stampeders recently, drops back for the opening kickoff. The Renegades won the toss and deferred. A little reverse on the return. Out across the 55-yard line. Ramon Adams taking the pitch, and they turn it into a 50-yard return.
Desperate times, desperate measures. We're going to see a lot of this. Both teams are going to pull out the stops to win this game this afternoon because they have to, quite frankly. So you're going to see reverses. You could see double passes, double moves, anything to get an edge in this one this afternoon. And Calgary starts with the very first play, the opening kickoff.
Ramon Adams has the Stampeders beginning with their first possession at the 50-yard line. So outstanding field position to begin for Marcus Crandall, who has been under the gun a little bit lately because the Stampeders have struggled and lost too many times in succession.
Well, 5 straight to be exact, and that 151st win for Wally Buono, it's been tough to come by.
It really has. And the receiving corps further decimated today with the loss of Travis Moore, so Camu Peterson and Don Blair will feel some extra heat. Kelvin Anderson will be helped out by Antonio Warren in the backfield. Up front, these guys have allowed 21 sacks on the season. Still a pretty good offensive line. Starting lineups are brought to you by Midas. See Midas for all your car care needs. Midas, we do that.
Well, the Stamps, when you look at their last 5 games, they have certainly struggled. In fact, losing 5 in a row, something that since Wally Buono took over in 1990, you just never would really talk about. 5 straight losses for the Calgary Stampeders. There they are. Maybe the most devastating was the Winnipeg game in overtime when they had the game won. They had a 17-point lead in the 4th quarter and lost in overtime.
Well, other games that were winnable, they lost to Hamilton in overtime on a missed kick. And then also, when you look back to Labor Day against the Eskimos, Stampeders had an opportunity to win that game and let it slip away. Vernon Mitchell of the Renegades injured on the kickoff, and that was the reason for a delay here from the shotgun. Crandall on first down. Here comes the heat. Crandall got it away, and he's got Kelvin Anderson to the 40. That'll be good for a first down.
Lots of changes in the front 7 for the Renegade defense. The defensive linemen have been changing in and out. John Frank, newcomer out of Utah, gets a chance to start on the corner. Michael Barreau back in the lineup. And in the secondary, Gerald Bond, a week ago, with a 109-yard interception return for a touchdown. Big play in the game and the win for the Ottawa Renegades versus Calgary.
Stampeders come up a half a yard shy. Crandall on second down and less than a yard to go with flags coming down.
Talked about pulling out the stops. Jacques Chapdelaine, the offensive coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders, has told us that you're going to see a lot of different formations. They have extra running backs in the lineup in this game this afternoon, so we're going to see some bunch formations rather than receivers.
Ottawa,
may see 4 running backs.
First down.
May see 4 running backs in the game at one time.
Kelvin Anderson, Antonio Warren, Scott Regimbald, and Ramon Adams could be out there all at the same time. Renegades were offside, and the Stampeders do get that first down at the 35 of Ottawa. Crandall shotgun as a target, and he'll get the touchdown. Don Blair has the touchdown reception from Marcus Crandall, 35 yards, and they made that one look rather easy.
Well, it was an easy read for Marcus Crandall because he saw John Grace, the linebacker, come up and have to cover man-to-man. When he saw John Grace come up and cover, he knew he had one-on-one. You're going to see number 7 right here on the right. He knows when John Grace has walked out there as a linebacker, it's a man-to-man defense. So now I'm going to go to the deep threat and the guy right over the middle. That's Don Blair. Nice throw right into the middle, and Blair runs to it.
And Blair will hold on the converts. It is, in fact, Mark McLaughlin kicking converts and field goals to begin this afternoon for the Calgary Stampeders. On top, 7-0. Stampeders set to kick off after the first touchdown of the afternoon. Here's Mark McLaughlin. And Archie Turner has it near the 25. Slowed down and stopped at about the 32-yard line. 11 yards on the return. Chuck Clements is the starting quarterback for the Ottawa Renegades for the 4th straight afternoon. Actually his 3rd start for Ottawa. 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. But he had the football team moving in the win over Calgary last week.
Well, that was the difference, and the fact that he got the W and got a little confidence for this quarterback who's trying to learn the system. And you see different formations from Joe Paupa already. That stacking behind him.
Rannick out to about the 30.
We'll go back to that Calgary touchdown. A good start for the Calgary Stampeders. You know, the reason you run change motion, it's called in behind. Watch how receivers change back here like this. When you go ahead and run it, you're going to see receivers change. Number 7, Grace, right here, recognizes the change and then steps out to cover one of them. The reason that Marcus Crandall runs that change motion in behind him is so that he can get a pre-snap read of what coverage he's facing. When he sees man-to-man, he goes to Don Blair.
Actually a loss of a yard, so this will be 2nd and 11. From the shotgun this time, it's Rannick. And Rannick is out across the 50-yard line.
Josh Rannick had a big game versus Calgary last week in their 26-12 win. 115 yards rushing. A good start here, and a nice call from Joe Paupa to go with the screen, take a little bit of the pressure off the young quarterback. Clements dump it off to Josh Rannick and let him do the rest with the football.
Nifty gain of 22 yards in the second offensive play for the Renegades. Close to midfield now. Interesting formation and lots of movement back there. Rannick again for about a yard. Jimmy Oliver is the longest serving member of the Renegades receiving corps. Getting his 2nd start is Reggie Jones. Getting his first bit of action will be Damon Hodge. And up front, the veteran offensive line. Together for an entire season here in Ottawa with Coulter in the middle.
Joe Paupa is very excited about his receiving corps. Eric Tillman has assembled.
Clements has Rannick again, and he'll be wrapped up short of a first down. Alondra Johnson got over to make the tackle.
Well, for Calgary defensively, James Cotton back in the lineup from the National Football League. Of course, he was there last year. Antoine Young in his 5th start in that front 7. In the secondary, they've had to make some changes. Kelly Malvo is back in the lineup at the halfback spot.
Glenn Harper is in, standing back near his 40 on 3rd down, Ottawa. Antonio Warren lets it bounce, and flags fly as Warren picks it up. John Grace was inside that restraining area there. So the reason for the penalty marker on a 31-yard punt.
Very good start for the Ottawa Renegades this afternoon as Vernon Mitchell goes down with a torn MCL in his right knee. He's gone for a month. And the other problem with that is they dressed one short DB, so they have an extra receiver. So now they're already down to 4 DBs, and Donald Ruiz will take his spot. Guys?
All right, it'll be first down. Stampeders at the 39. Calvin Anderson turns the corner. Took a big hit down there as he ran into Jerome Haywood.
22 times in his career, Calvin Anderson has had over 100 yards rushing. Calgary Stampeders have won 15 of those games. Every year he's been in Canadian football, he's been over 1,000 yards. He's got 6, working on number 7, and he has quietly come up that rushing list. And we were joking today, saying everyone's talking about 3 or 4 other running backs in the league, and Calvin Anderson may take the title before it's over.
2nd and 9. Tunkara makes the catch, but he'll be wrapped up short of a first down by Ricky Bell, number 25.
You know, when you look at the overall list coming into this week, Lawrence Phillips was leading the way, and Calvin Anderson had snuck up and was right behind him. Phillips had 905 coming in, didn't play versus Winnipeg at all. Calvin Anderson 878, so Calvin Anderson stays healthy throughout this game this afternoon, likely be the leader. Now, John Avery played yesterday versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I don't know what exactly his totals were, so we'll have to wait and see. But Calvin Anderson may climb right up and end up finishing with the title.
Well, and he could end up with his 1,000-yard season today for the 8th straight year.
Absolutely.
Coming in at 878. 3rd down, punting situation. Turner is deep for Ottawa, standing back near the 10-yard line as O'Mani gets set. A low drive this time. Turner moves up. Away from one Stampeder. Can he get room on a block to the outside? No, he's tracked down at the 32. And there's a penalty marker. That's back near the line of scrimmage.
Well, Joe Paopao is very excited about his new receiving core. Malcolm Johnson is 6'5", 228. You look across the board, you got Reggie Jones at 6 foot 202, and then Damon Hodge, 6'1", 192, is going to be the extra receiver. And when he put Malcolm Johnson in the inside and then Nigel Williams on the other side, one at 6'4", one at 6'5", and he says, I got 2 huge oak trees down the seams. And
the Twin Towers, he called them.
And he loved that. I mean, when you watch Malcolm Johnson from Notre Dame out there running, at some NFL experience, and you see him running routes, boy, I tell you what, he is smooth for a big man and can get down the field in a hurry.
This is Reggie Jones. Split to the near side on first down, Ottawa. Beginning near the 15. Little shovel pass, loose ball. And it's a pass, so it'll go as an incomplete pass.
That'll be incomplete, yeah. Shovel pass, even though it's underhand, is forward, and that makes it an incomplete
always looks a little
pass.
Dangerous when it's bouncing around on the ground.
And you know, all the players react like it's a fumble anyway because they want to make sure. But you can bet that Joe Paopao has some plays designed to get to Malcolm Johnson down the seam, and he's in there for Eddie Brown, who was released. Wasn't happy about that, obviously. But they really like this Malcolm Johnson. Played for the Bengals, a little bit for the Steelers a couple of years back.
On 2nd and 10. Clements wide open target over the middle, and Johnson couldn't bring it in. Malcolm Johnson playing his 3rd game in Ottawa, 9 receptions for 85 yards, and he should have made that one.
Well, we built him up, and then he went down.
He bobbled it.
And then he bobbled it. There he is right here, and he's going to go down the seam. And this is why they like him down the seam. Guy that can make a little move there, and that's really tremendous fake to the outside on Kelly Malville. Had them all turned around, just didn't hang on to the football.
So Harper is in again for Ottawa, standing at his goal line. Renegades have lost a little on field position here. Antonio Warren wrapped up right at midfield. Darren Joseph leading the Ottawa tacklers. 42 on the punt, 6 on the return. 7-0 Calgary on the scoreboard. All right, Hay West, and the number was there. We'll mention it again during the afternoon. A re-kick because the Stampeders were offside, and this is a little bit better for Glenn Harper. Let's see how the Stamps do on the return. There are flags down on the field as the return gets back to the 50-yard line. An 11-yard return.
You know, it'd be interesting to see how the Ottawa Renegades adjust now with Vernon Mitchell out of the game. It really forces Joe Paopao to go with Donald Ruiz on the corner. You get Donald Ruiz on the corner.
Clipping, Calgary, number 99, first down.
I mean, that's not a major problem because he's been a backup all season long, has taken tons of reps, but now he's working with Alfonso Roundtree, a guy he's not real familiar with, and you can see the two talking it over right now to make sure they're on the same page. Now, if Calgary goes with the extra receiver, then that'll bring Donovan Carter out of the middle and put Sean Gallant, the backup safety, in the game. So a couple of changes have to be made just because Vernon Mitchell went down.
Two costly penalties to the Stampeders. It's cost them 35 yards in field position. Crandall gets a little bit of that back with a completion. Camille Loud making the catch near the 40.
Well, Camille Loud in for Travis Moore, and big shoes to fill. Obviously, he was injured early in the season. Freak injury. He's just coming back in for his first game, and now he's going to see a whole lot of man-to-man because of the changes they've had to make. Because when you put in new guys in the secondary for the Ottawa Renegades, they really have to play vanilla coverages.
Maybe that'll help the confidence of the quarterback, Marcus Crandall. Decides to take off here, and Crandall has about 3 yards with another penalty flag falling near the 40. Gerald Vaughn made the tackle, moving up from his spot.
Well, he's a leader back there, so if they do start having problems in the secondary.
Holding, Calgary, number 64, first down, repeat it.
Ottawa starts to struggle in that secondary. Sean Gallant comes on the game right now. Then Gerald Vaughn's the guy who's got to bring him in and make sure everybody gets on the same page. I've always thought that the defensive secondary, much like CFL record on the teams, but he's the kind of guy that can bring that leadership in there.
Stampeders looking at 1st and 20, and that one is batted down. Left-handed to the turf by Michel Boireau.
Yeah, Boireau is a couple of sacks. He's been in and out of the lineup, had personal tragedy early in the year, and went back home, came back, and they've been rotating those defensive linemen. And most right in here, he's right in front of Donovan Carter, the safety. Gets upfield, gets his hands up, knocks that down with the left hand.
2nd down and 20. Stampeders back at the 30. Crandall gets the heats, and he's down. So is a flag. The newcomer, John Frank, was the first to the Calgary quarterback there.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's going to be a long afternoon for Marcus Crandall if the Ottawa Renegades are allowed to get pressure like that.
Calgary, number 2, decline.
From just 3 defensive linemen. You're going to see John Frank get up the field. He's the guy who gets the sack, the newcomer. But they're only going to rush. There's Frank on the left side of your screen right there. They're only going to rush with 3. John Frank, Clinton Wayne, those 2 of them, and Michael Barreau. So you got a 3-man rush on 5 offensive linemen, and the rush wins.
John Frank, who's been around the National Football League, the Eagles and the Jets making his CFL debut here today. Stampeders were out at midfield until they took several penalties in succession.
They're going to take another one. All the movement. See Gerald Vaughn back in the backfield. He's blocked 11 kicks. We showed you that CFL record.
The 8th penalty of the game, and the Stampeders have taken the brunt of them. They've taken 5. And all of a sudden, Ottawa will get terrific field position here with any kind of a return. O'Mahony's punt is not deep. This is Turner returning. And well covered. The tackle made at the 45 by Tunkara. Long toss, no one home. Picked off. Jason Bray returning for the Stampeders. And the Stampeders have not had a lot of interceptions on the season. That is just the 7th this year. So Clements is picked off for the 5th time. And the Stampeders had a difficult time on offense. Sometimes it's nice to celebrate something, though, isn't it?
Nice, easy interception for Jason Bray, who's sitting back in his own defense, and Reggie Jones went the wrong way on the pattern. The ball is thrown to the spot, but the wrong spot. Jason Bray has it now. He's just going to bring it back. You're right. Coming into the season, Calgary ranked, or into this game, I should say, Calgary ranked 9th, dead last in the league in interceptions because of all the changes they've had to make in the secondary and on defense.
Stampeders scored on their opening drive. And there's another drop pass. Don Blair had the touchdown earlier and should have made the catch there.
Don Blair was right over the middle, and he had time to throw Marcus Crandall. He had a throwing lane to get it in there. Blair's going to come in here, and when he comes into that area, look at the nice throwing lane up over top. Linebacker and right over the middle to Don Blair. He just puts it on the ground. But you wonder about the influence of Donovan Carter in that middle, who is always a physical presence. The receivers know where he is.
2nd and 10, Stampeders. Flags are down. The catch is made, and we'll see where they spot the ball.
Jerome Haywood lost his helmet on the pass rush.
Rob Johnson made the catch. We'll check out the infraction. Johnson with 26 catches on the year.
Calgary, number 50, 2nd down, repeat it.
So another penalty goes against the Stampeders.
Well, you know, coming into this game, Calgary ranked 2nd in the league in the penalty department. They had 121 penalties so far this season in 12 games, which ranks 2nd. All of a sudden, they're coming in bunches.
Well, they're having a tough struggle so far this afternoon in spite of leading the game on an opening drive touchdown. 2nd and 20. Facing Crandall and the Cowboys here. The rush is on from Wilshire, got it away. And Tunkara made the catch short of a 1st down in front of Alfonso Roundtree.
That's about an 18-yard gain by the looks of it, and it would be just short, which means the first pressure kick for a guy who's really been struggling. Marcus Crandall gets outside of containment, gets a chance to move and use his legs to create some offense. And a bit of a communication problem there between Ib Tunkara and Rob Johnson. If you run into each other in motion, it's going to slow you down by 2 or 3 seconds, and that's the difference between getting open and not getting open. That's why Crandall had to scramble to the outside.
Now, the story all week was that Mark McLaughlin was not going to kick field goals. He walked in and told Wally, after missing 5 of his last 7, that he'd gladly step aside. Last night, they made a decision and decided that they would have McLaughlin out here to kick field goals here this afternoon. So this from a long way away, and he nails it from 43. So McLaughlin is on the money. Huge kick for McLaughlin.
That is a big one, and that's a confidence builder. That's a long kick, and right now those goalposts look about an inch apart to Mark McLaughlin, and somehow he squeezed the ball through there. When I say that, it's just a mental game at this point for a veteran kicker of 15 years who has been in a slump that is hard to explain, and a slump that I don't think he's ever been in his pro career. But
hitting 58% of his field goals, 18 of 31.
In 3 games leading into this one, he's 3 of his last 11. Missed 5 of his last 7 field goals in the last 2. Just yanking them left, yanking them right, hit a goalpost there. But that 43-yarder will go a long way.
Jimmy Oliver in the reverse is wrapped up neatly by Jason Bray, who's made a couple of big plays for the Stampeders already.
Well, that was a play that Jason Bray makes because of design. It's because of the call that was made by the defensive coordinator, Mike Roach, because he calls a halfback blitz coming this way, and it just so happens that Ottawa has the reverse coming the opposite way. So it works out perfect timing for the defense that is called by the Calgary Stampeders, because the blitzer is right in the backfield.
There and waiting for a 13-yard loss. So the Renegades now look at 2nd and 23. Chuck Clements, shotgun, has some time, looks to take off, and he needed a lot more running room than that to make it an effective play. A gain of 6, and quickly the Renegades are into a kicking situation again.
You know, Chuck Clements last week completed 55% of his passes, did not throw a touchdown or an interception. Heading into last week's game, he had thrown 4 interceptions and just 1 touchdown pass, and that's a concern. And now Dan Crowley, who started the season so well and then went through about 3 or 4 games that he really struggled, and he will be back in this game if Chuck Clements continues to struggle moving the football team.
Harper. Antonio Warren for the Stampeders. Nice return for Warren. He's wrapped up near the 52.
You know, and I had, John, a good conversation with Joe Powpow about Dan Crowley, and he said he has gained so much respect for Crowley throughout the struggles, because, you know, you find out a lot about a person, a lot about a player when things aren't going well. When everything's going pretty well, and Crowley had just beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, things were going real well. Crowley's numbers on the season were looking pretty good. He had not thrown many interceptions at that point, and then the wheels kind of fell off. Now, he didn't have a whole lot of help with his receiving core, and there's a lot of reasons for it. But when adversity hit Dan Crowley, he didn't start to complain. He got benched. He didn't start to pout. He kept working on his game, and Joe Powpow said he's gained a lot of respect for him because of that.
Kelvin Anderson on first down, Calgary, left side, and a nice run for number 32.
You know, and speaking of adversity, both these teams have faced it all season long, but the good news is for both of them is that there's still time. And when you think about Calgary Stampeders and Wally Buono, he is still looking at a playoff spot and trying to find a way. Now, the best he can do this year, if he runs the table, is a 500 season.
3 and 9 coming in. Anderson picked up 7. This is 2nd and 3. And it's Anderson again. He'll have the first down. So back-to-back for Kelvin Anderson, and Aspel forced him out far side.
Well, Kelvin Anderson, you know, is just, we haven't seen that running back formation they talked about. Kelvin Anderson will still be the feature back in that new running back situation with Ramon Adams, and put Reginbald in there and Scott Dybert, and they have the 4 running backs. The reason we haven't seen it, though, even though they said coming in, is because of the injury to Vernon Mitchell. So they have to change things in the secondary for Ottawa. They go to that passing formation for the Calgary Stampeders.
Stampeders with a 10-0 lead, and another first down here. Don Blair makes another catch. He has the touchdown, and the only one of the afternoon. So the Stampeders, in spite of the penalty problems, are moving the football offensively into the final minute here of the opening quarter. With a 10-0 lead, Calgary has a chance to add to that here.
And there's Jacques Chapdelaine calling a play that has Marcus Crandall going to the primary receiver, who was Don Blair. Remember, Don Blair dropped an easy one in the last series. You know, and that's a receiver who played receiver when he was a pro. Jacques Chapdelaine played receiver at Simon Fraser University. Understands the importance of going right back to the guy who just dropped him.
Well, they've just thrown another flag before the Stampeders got into the huddle.
2 new players, Calgary, still first down.
Stampeders had 13 in the huddle. So despite the penalty problems, the Stampeders are in scoring range, and they have a 10-0 lead.
Jacques Chapdelaine told me that, you know, a lot of offensive coordinators like to be up in the booth so they can see the entire field. He doesn't like it. He'd rather be down there, and you saw him signaling the play in. He wants to make sure that the play signaled in is signaled to perfection. So that's one of the reasons that he likes to be down. Plus, when Crandall comes off, he'll grab and look right in his eyes, and he likes that.
Stamps needed 20. Tunkara. Peterson was the target there. Kamau Peterson couldn't hang on to that.
A couple of drops from both teams early in this game.
Stampeders scored on the opening drive. They've added a field goal since for a 10-0 lead.
Thanks, Wellesley. About a month ago, Marcus Crandall threw for 5 touchdown passes in one game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Had just 3 touchdown passes in his last 3 games coming into today, Matt, but he got one right off the bat against Ottawa.
And he got some help from his special teams, Dave, because right off the bat, you heard Glenn Suter say desperate times lead to desperate plays and measures. And what the Calgary Stampeders do is they use Antonio Warren, a big-time playmaker, as a decoy, and they run the reverse right off the top of the game and get great field position for the Stamps. Nice play there by Ramon Adams, taking it into Renegade territory. And then 2 plays later, you've got Crandall hitting Donald Blair on a nice post pattern, and watch Tunkara on the wheel pattern. So Crandall has basically got 2 guys. He's got Blair here for the touchdown, and if he wanted, he had Tunkara on Grace to the boundary running a wheel pattern. A great job of the Stampeders on the road, coming out on fire, getting things done, mixing it up, keeping the Renegades on their heels early, Chris.
Well, Matty, the special teams, the passing game, but also against the run, the Calgary Stampeders now are controlling the point of attack. They did not do that in the first game. Watch the fullback here and also the nose tackle, Tyrone Rogers. Tyrone is going to watch the motion of the fullback towards the outside. That's a key read for him, and then all of a sudden, he'll see the entire flow of the offensive line. That's his second key read. All of a sudden, Tyrone Rogers became the point of attack. They have to continue to do that because if Ottawa establishes Josh Ronick, they'll win the game. They haven't yet, Jock.
Schultz, I'm going to have a look at Ottawa's interception and Chuck Clements here in his 3rd start. Obviously, this is a guy who struggled with interception. His first start against Toronto, he threw 4. And this does not bode well for the Renegades that he's throwing 1 here. Now, he's back in the pocket. He's throwing the seam pattern. He's got his new receiver, Reggie Jones, right here running the dig pattern or the over pattern. That's the miscommunication. The ball should be coming here. Instead, it's going deep, and it's right into Bray's arms. Now, looks to me like even if Jones had run the seam pattern, that was going to be an interception. Clearly, those guys will go back to the sideline and communicate, but something's got to be done on that Renegades offense.
Just the 7th interception that Calgary's had all season long.
Welcome back to Lansdowne Park in Ottawa and Frank Clair Stadium. Stampeders and the Renegades on a Sunday afternoon. 2nd down, Calgary. Johnson makes the catch. He'll be well short of a first down. It was 2nd and 20. And the numbers from the opening quarter are a little interesting.
Well, what's interesting about it is this number right here, -9 rushing for the Ottawa Renegades. Josh Ronick, a week ago in a 26-12 win versus Calgary, rushed for 115 yards. Without a running game, the young quarterback in Chuck Clements is going to be in big trouble this afternoon.
Mark McLaughlin hit his first field goal try this afternoon, a 43-yarder. This one will be spotted at the 32. And McLaughlin is 2 for 2. All the talk last week, and McLaughlin was right in the center of it, walking in and talking to his head coach and offering to back off the kicking duties with the Calgary Stampeders. In fact, until today, we believe that Duncan O'Mahony was going to be the field goal kicker for Calgary, but they had a change of heart last night, and Wally Buono said he wanted McLaughlin to kick, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, and it's a great move by Wally Buono. You know, 15-year veteran that you know is hurt from his slump more than anybody. Duncan O'Mahony hasn't kicked field goals since UBC when he was a kicker there and doing both a few years back. So good move by Wally Buono to give Mark McLaughlin one more chance to try and battle out of this slump, and he's 2 for 2 today.
Renegades have to get something going here. And Ronick is wrapped up by Melvin Bradley along with James Cotton.
Yeah, how important is it to get James Cotton back in the lineup for this defensive line that started the season without any of the linemen that they had at the Grey Cup game last year. All 4 starters in the defensive line left this football team, and James Cotton was one of them, went down for an NFL tryout. Politics dictated that he didn't make that lineup, and then comes back, and boy, Wally Buono loves to have him back.
Ronick another loss of 4 yards. So Clements goes to the shotgun and goes way long.
Don't be surprised if we see a little Dan Crowley very shortly. both teams so desperate for a win, they just can't afford to wait too long to make the change, and that includes Wally Buono on the other sideline. Marcus Crandall comes out and is struggling in a couple of series. We see Ben Sankey, and I wouldn't be surprised if Chuck Clements sits and watches very, very shortly.
Clements missing Damon Hodge, making his CFL debut. Played in Seattle until last week, or was at least with the Seahawks at camp. So a quick 2-and-out again for the Renegades, and again the Stampeders will have a positive exchange here with field position. Antonio Warren and penalty markers are down at the 40. We'll take a break at Frank Clair Stadium, where the Stampeders are trouncing. No doubt it's been a tough year patrolling the sidelines for Wally Buono, so he was happy this week to welcome a few familiar faces back from NFL camps.
Well, again, I think they all add something to our football club. You know, James is a very good defensive player, very smart, very tough. I think he brings a toughness to our team that we need.
Calgary,
Antonio is the guy that can make a big play for you, both as a returner and as a running back. And Ben gives you a little bit more experience at the quarterback position. Obviously, he's going to have to get up to speed on what we're doing, but he'll pick that up fairly quickly.
Stampeders begin at the 25, first down. Calvin Anderson, room to the outside. It closed up rather quickly. The middle linebacker Asbell over to make the stop.
Ben Sankey got a chance to play a little bit last week and threw an interception, did not throw a touchdown pass. Still trying to learn the offense, but it's fairly familiar. I mean, Jacques Chapdelaine is taking over for George Cortez, so there is small changes that he has to learn.
Anderson actually picked up 5 yards. Talking about Sankey, he's been with the team for 2 weeks of practices now. Back from Houston, 2nd and 5, Stampeders with a 13-0 lead. Crandall had to throw that one away.
Sure did. Wise move, too, because the pressure was coming. Kelly Wilshire providing pressure from one side, Donovan Carter from the other. And it was a situation where Marcus Crandall could see that Sean Gallant, the safety, remember we told he would come in, he's there. Kelly Wilshire there, and Donovan Carter comes from this side. So he knows that the blitz is coming. He's got a linebacker from one side. There's Carter, number 2, trying to get in the middle. And if I can't get rid of that football in a hurry, it's got to go up into the stands, or I'll throw it to my offensive coordinator.
Yeah. And that's what he did. His offensive coordinator used to be a receiver in the CFL.
And a teammate of mine at Simon Fraser University many years ago. Well, many. Years and years ago. Decades ago.
It was back in the 60s.
Well, we used to take our helmets out of the back of our pocket and then flip them on, and away we went.
Every year you're out, it seems a little longer away, doesn't it? Here's Marcellus Turner.
That might be the one they need.
Renegades needed some field position. It's only a 19-yard return, but it might be, as Glenn says, exactly what they need. Here's on top of the Renegades in a critical game for both teams, trying to keep playoff hopes alive.
Well, with the Ottawa Renegades with just 3 wins coming into this week, they're looking at the Toronto Argonauts situation. They have 1 more win. Hamilton and Toronto are playing today, so Hamilton came in with 6 wins into this week. So that's why there's still hope here in Ottawa for a playoff spot, although it's fading.
Clements on first down, swings it out for Ronick. Turns the corner, positive yardage. Malvo over to make the tackle. Well, today is Fritos Pandemonium Day here at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa. One lucky fan this afternoon will be chosen as the ultimate fan, and he or she will win a trip to the 2002 Grey Cup in Edmonton. One lucky fan from each CFL city will win the prize pack. Well, haven't seen a painted face here yet.
Well, see, the fans here, though, haven't had a whole lot to cheer about just yet, so they're not quite as nutty as we've seen. A couple plays here in a row from Ottawa, and you may see something different.
Play action fake, Ronick on the shovel pass. Fields knocked him out of bounds. Nice fake by Clements. And then he shoveled it ahead to Ronick. And that's good for an 8-yard gain and a first down.
Well, it's a shovel pass, little fake here, and then Ronick cuts right back across the grain for the shovel pass. There's the fake, little play action. That holds the D-line. Now the D-line has to try and react afterwards. Good block out there by Carl Coulter to get Josh Ronick out and around the corner.
So Ronick will rest. Renegades set up at the Stampeder 41. Clemens looking deep. Turner, had it and dropped it. Marcellus Turner should have made that catch inside the 20.
Well, you know, that's a couple from both teams now. Malcolm Johnson, and I believe it was the second series. This time it's Archie Turner's turn. He had to turn over the opposite shoulder and come back to it, but a catch he definitely should have made. He had time to gather himself, come underneath it, and just took his eyes off the ball. Clemens did a nice job of waiting just till the last minute. I mean, because of that, he pays the price and is hit there by Melvin Bradley. But he looked completely to his left the entire time to try and draw the defense. He executed it perfectly, just wasn't caught.
Trying to find some of his new receivers. Hasn't so far, Clemens. Maybe this time on a sideline pattern to the far side. Malcolm Johnson makes the catch. Previous 5 completions were all to the running back, Ronick.
Very close.
A yard shy. You're going here, aren't you, pal?
The fans want Joe Paopao to make the decision to go ahead and gamble and get the first down.
But Ronick has not run the ball effectively this afternoon thus far.
You know, in the past so far this season, when they've gotten this situation, Paopao has gone with a play that is like a pitch play back to Josh Ronick. In other words, Clemens turns around, pitches it about 3 or 4 yards deep to him, and then he picks his hole. It's a dangerous call if you're gambling on 3rd and 1 because you're starting 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But what it does is it gives Josh Ronick a chance to find a hole and hit it.
Yeah, that's a yard and a bit. I'm taking 3.
You're going to go conservative?
I'm taking 3 here in a 13-0 ball game. Lawrence Tynes good on 5 of his last 7.
It is over a yard. I mean, that's almost 2 yards. And
you need some points. You need some confidence.
You put a couple of first downs together, and I would agree with you. I think you put some first downs together, and you've got some confidence, a little momentum. You've given your defense a breather on the sideline. They've a chance to sit down, and you've got confidence in your kicker anyway.
Here's Lawrence Tynes. He had a 59-yarder last week against Calgary that they took off the board. Little confusion there, but he's wide. Lawrence Tynes misses his first try, but there was confusion on the setup of that field goal try. So the Renegades pick up 1 and trail by 12. League this year, isn't it?
Well, you look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats and you think that the road trip that just goes down the highway there is not really even a road trip. So you think they're going to win 1 on the road this season. There's a lot of football to be played there, so it may not be over yet.
And a lot here as well. Stampeders are looking a little bit better. Antonio Warren for 5 yards there.
Jason Kralt has to decide in this field goal situation that is missed by Ottawa which side to go to. Look at Kralt, number 6, standing right there in front of the kicker. He's got to see where the overload is and then decide which side to go. He waits so long, I think it just disrupts the timing of the hold and the kick from Lawrence Tynes. And he just pushes it to the right. Jason Kralt was talking on the sideline to Glenn Harper, who's the holder, after that, saying just move out of there a little sooner if you can.
Stamps on 2nd and 5. Peterson makes the catch. He'll have the first down, dodging 1 tackle, and Kelly Wiltshire got over to make the stop after that.
It's interesting. The game of football is so timing oriented. Everything has to be on time, and just see that play right there. Marcus Crandall, quick 3-step drop. You saw a little peek. He looks off to his left. The ball is out of his hands in a hurry, and if it is and the timing's right, it gives Peterson a chance to make that move and get a first down. Same as that Jason Kralt play. If the timing's not quite right, it disrupts the entire play.
An 11-yard gain setting the Stampeders up at the Calgary 50. Here's Crandall. Peterson was the target.
I've counted 5 now. That's the 5th drop. 3 from the Calgary Stampeders, 2 from the Ottawa Renegades.
Ricky Bell was covering, and he is shaken up.
And just take a nice look right here at the ISO. 3 moves, 4 moves. You have to have time to be able to make that many breaks, that many cuts. And when Peterson makes his 3rd and 4th move, Marcus Crandall, remember, that whole time is sitting there back in the pocket waiting for him to come out of his break. He really should have caught that pass.
And Peterson ended up falling directly on Ricky Bell.
Well, this is going to be devastating for the Ottawa Renegades because Ricky Bell has to go out for at least 3 plays. And you heard earlier the fact that Joe Paopao had dressed just 1 extra defensive back.
Vernon Mitchell's already out.
Is already out. And there's Ricky Bell. Now, the way the training staff was bent over him and bending those knees back, that's usually what happens when you're winded, when you lose your wind. They're trying to bend the knees and just try and, like one of those bellows, trying to get the wind back in the lungs.
That's encouraging for the Renegades.
Ricky Bell, of course, former Calgary Stampeder. Played there last year in the expansion draft, picked up by Ottawa, and playing against his old teammates.
Want to wish a happy 85th birthday, which is coming up next Tuesday, Doug Rook, the special assistant to the general manager of the Calgary Stampeders. Wally Buono will be 85 on Tuesday, so we hope you have a happy day, Doug.
Franz Clarkson, who is put on the roster as a special teams player out of Manitoba in his 4th season, is now going to play the wide side corner for Ottawa. That's way up here at the top of your screen.
Stampeders looking at 2nd and 10. Batted away. Peterson was the target again, and Roundtree got a hand on it. In fact, he got a fist on it and just punched it out of there.
A little surprising with Alfonso Roundtree and Gerald Vaughn. You've got the 2 starting halfbacks in the game, but you go out there to Franz Clarkson, Vernon Mitchell's out of the game, so you have Donald Ruiz playing out there. Those are the 2 backups, and Marcus Crandall in a key situation goes inside against the starters rather than going outside against the guy who was cold on the sideline in Franz Clarkson. Maybe see him and test him.
Turner deep for the Renegades. O'Mahony standing back near his 40.
I think they got it off again.
Whistle down. O'Mahony hammered it anyway.
You know,
Procedure. Calgary, number 56. Still 3rd down.
Movement from the Renegades is causing this punt team for the Calgary Stampeders all kinds of problems. You take a look at these guys. Watch how they move around. Once they set, then they'll move over and they'll get into different positions. And right here, Greg Frères is trying to count the guys, make sure everybody is picked up. It's the 2nd time now Calgary's got a penalty because of it. And you can see live, you see how they're pointing at players? They're trying to say, okay, you got that guy, you got 32, I've got the guy on the end.
9th penalty by the Stampeders. It's cost them 70 yards, but they lead the game 13-1. Turner reversing his field, and here is Marcellus Turner, also known as Archie, with a big run. Nugent got over to make the tackle after a 20-yard return. It looked more spectacular than 20 yards, but it has everyone here happy and cheering.
Well, 20 yards north-south and about 60 yards east-west. And that's what happens because see how the bunch of Calgary tacklers are all caught up into the sideline. Turner recognizes it and then tries to lose some ground, actually loses about 4 or 5 yards to come back and see if he can pick up some blocks on the front side. He does get enough to get 20 yards on the play, but it was an exciting play. One of those ones that, again, the momentum can change and you can get some momentum out of your offense because of it.
It has been a frustrating year for the Stampeders, and when you've looked at this defense over the past 10 years, there are a lot of changes. Looking in the middle of it, Alondra Johnson is one of the few regulars left from the great era, and it's been frustrating in particular for the great middle linebacker, Alondra Johnson.
It's frustrating. For a lot of guys, it is frustrating. I don't know how it affects the younger guys because they haven't been around and lived the tradition over the last decade. It's frustrating for me. especially because I'm used to being the dominant team, being the winner, being on the winning side, going to the playoffs. Those are things that I'm used to doing, and I'm not quite sure how to respond as far as us not going to play. I won't know how I would respond. Probably just go home and pack it in. Who knows?
Boy, and
Well, I
you
hope
listen
not.
to the emotion there in Alondra Johnson. He is still leading this football team after all these years in sacks and in tackles so far this season.
Well, and you know, the concern with guys like Alondra Johnson in his 14th season, and you know, all Canadian football fans, not just Calgary Stampeder fans, but fans across the country, you know, just hope that the frustration doesn't get to him to a point where he does pack it in and decide it's his last year, because, you know, it's a tremendous football player that, you know, he has done everything in his power to try and get this defense together. They lost all of their starters on the defensive line. And the middle linebacker really is the leader. He's the leader by example. He also talks in the huddle. He's the only guy who calls the plays, makes the checks along with the safety behind him. But the middle linebacker is the guy, and they've had changes in their secondary, and through it all, you mentioned his tackles and his sacks. His performance has not dropped off.
No, it really hasn't.
And his career numbers are outstanding. So, you know, you can just hope that the frustration doesn't get to a point where it causes Alondra Johnson to cut his career off short.
After the injury timeout, 1st and 10 Renegades. Clements as a target, and it's Reggie Jones, one of the newcomers. He can get open. A couple of years in San Diego.
Linebackers got real tight this time for the Calgary Stampeders. Antoine Young on the blitz, so the linebackers are nice and tight. Reggie Jones gets in behind that level, that first layer. Otis Floyd and James Burgess way too close to the line of scrimmage. Jones is right in behind him and now has the big play for Ottawa.
Huge 24-yard gain for the Renegades. At the 45, Moronic, and that's likely his most impressive run of the afternoon. He has been stacked up by that Stampeder defense all through this first half.
Yeah, but look to the Ottawa Renegades to go back to that same formation and same style of running play. He didn't get much there, but it was a formation that pulled James Burgess, the strong side linebacker, right out of the box, right out of the tackle-to-tackle zone, and that's where the running plays are hitting. So if you can get a linebacker out of that area, it should open another running lane for Josh Ronick.
Malcolm Johnson flanks to the near side this time, and a 4-receiver set for Ottawa. Chuck Clements looking at 2nd and 7, and a little mix-up over there. Jones was the intended receiver, and he went the other way.
Well, you know, John, that looked like to me a timing pattern from Chuck Clements to get to the first down marker and about 2 or 3 yards beyond it, as a matter of fact. And it looked to me like Reggie Jones broke it off way too early. That ball was in the air before Reggie Jones came out of his break, and it has to be to throw that wide side of the field. Clements threw it to a spot he expected Reggie Jones to get to, and he broke his pattern off about 3 yards short.
And Clements a little frustrated, as you see. Renegades come up shy again. Harper will put it down. Just
you see Jason Kralt is right out of there right now. He's already set up over there.
and another play whistle down. Practice kick for Lawrence Tynes. Now he may not get a chance to kick again, depending on who the penalty is against.
Ottawa, number 17, still 3rd down.
Time count on Ottawa, but it's a longer field goal, obviously, by 5 yards.
Tynes going off to the bench. It'll be a punting situation now for Harper.
You know, Lawrence Tynes made a 59-yard field goal last week that Joe Paopao elected to take off the board, and it came back to haunt him a little bit, although they did end up winning that game. But he'll elect to punt here. Now, he said that Lawrence Tynes in warm-up and in practice can kick him about 65 yards. But remember, whenever you kick a field goal, if it's missed, it can be returned. And you've got offensive linemen covering on a missed field goal and not tackling type players. Makes it that much more dangerous.
Harper aims it for the corner. Doesn't quite get there, and Adams is cut down by the first Renegade upfield. Darren Joseph makes the tackle and limits the return to 6 yards. 15-1 lead. Begin just outside the 10-yard line. It's Kelvin Anderson, and Clinton Wayne is there to make the tackle. He has been playing superbly for Ottawa.
Another guy picked up in the expansion draft from the Calgary Stampeders, Clinton Wayne. So again, playing against his former teammates, and he was over there in a hurry to stop that run. You know, but this punt and decision by Joe Paopao to punt the football rather than try a long field goal has got this defense a little pumped up now.
Fired up and forcing the Stampeders into a second down and almost 10-yard situation. One more penalty flag, and then there's another one on the far side of the field as well. So I don't know if they've spotted 2 penalties here. One is against Calgary for sure.
See Ken Lazarick, the referee, did you see him jump in there and try and protect Marcus Crandall?
Still second down.
Well, we got it. Stampeders are taking the bulk of the infractions this afternoon, but they have controlled this game from the opening offensive drive, scoring a touchdown there and still leading 13-1 as we head into the final 4 minutes of the opening half.
Alfonso Roundtree is trying to get the fans in it, and they're starting to pick up a little bit on this second down play.
2nd and 14, shotgun for Crandall. He's got time to throw. Calvin Anderson made the catch, and he's wrapped up by Roundtree. Nice bow.
Well, what he did, well, coming out of the huddle, he was the best cheerleader in the place. He was over there waving to the crowd, getting them pumped up, and he was trying to get the crowd in it. Then they got in it, and then the crowd gave it back to Roundtree, so Roundtree comes up and makes the tackle. And he's just going to break right up here. And when he does, he's in zone defense. Donald Ruiz tells him, hey, they're throwing it right out there in the flat. That's called the flat out by the numbers there. When he catches Calvin Anderson, puts him on the ground, and says, okay, I got you cheering. You cheered me on. I made the tackle for you. Let's go get the ball back.
You think about giving up a couple here? Backed up where the Stampeders are?
I'd say it'd probably be a good decision. They're still trying to count the overload side to find out where Gerald Vaughn is. Certainly don't want to get one block back there.
Yeah, O'Mani is going to run it out of the back of the end zone and surrender 2 points for field position.
It's a good decision from Wally Guano. I mean, you have Marcelo's Turner back there returning. You're giving up 2 or you're giving up 3. Maybe worse.
Either way you look at it, it was going to cost points. Now it's a 10 points afternoon on Wendy's CFL Live from Ottawa. Or at least a tie for second place.
BC beat Winnipeg.
Well, that's an interesting turn of events. After giving up 2, Renegades kick it out of bounds, so the Stampeders have an option here.
Well, the Renegades can take the ball on the 45-yard line, which is probably what they'll do. And that's pretty good field position that, you know, Wally Buono's decision there to give up the safety.
Calgary, number 13, first down.
The reason he does that is to try and get the field position advantage back, but then when Mark McLaughlin makes the mistake of kicking it out of bounds, now Ottawa gets it on the 45, so
Absolutely.
that field position is eaten up again.
So 45 is not bad.
So you get the 2. If you're Ottawa now, you've got the 2 points on the safety, and you've got pretty good field position to start the series.
Renegades beginning at the 45, trailing by 10. Ronick, and it's been tough running against the Stampeders all afternoon. James Cotton was there this time. There is no gain.
And Josh Ronick took a bunch of hits on that play. Oh, man. It is the most violent game there is.
Ronick, a rookie. At 5'7", 205, hasn't made anything along the ground so far. Here's Clements looking deep. He's got a target. No penalty marker down.
Damon Hodge tried to fight back across Deshaun Austin's shoulders, but Austin kind of held his ground. I mean, both were fighting for position. Remember, Deshaun Austin is you see him as he goes down the sideline here on the little bit of a wheel route that started that way. And as they turn and go down the sideline, both battling for position. Now, Deshaun Austin has a right to the ground he's standing. There's a push there from Damon Hodge and a little bit of a grab from Deshaun Austin. And, you know, that's two football players battling for position on the field. I don't think it's a bad call to not throw the flag.
Damon Hodge making his CFL debut here today. So 2 and out for the 4th time for the Renegades.
Whoa.
Harper gets a high kick away. Antonio Warren wrapped up by about 4 Renegades there. John Grace leading the way. So Marcus Crandall heads out again. He has a 10-point lead. 9 of 15, 118 yards, 1 touchdown.
You know, those aren't bad numbers, really, when you look at him. And he's had 3 drops, 3 flat-out drops that I've counted. So if you add those in there, you know, now you're 12 of 15. And however many more yards you tack on. So not a bad outing for Marcus Crandall, who, remember, an interception went 109 yards a week ago for a touchdown to Gerald Vaughn. And that sits in the back of your mind. It's got to as a quarterback.
Crandall with his 20th touchdown pass of the year. Don Blair on the receiving end of the very first drive. Antonio Warren right side for about 3.
Well, we talked about it coming in. Finally, we get a chance to see it. This is the bunch formation that Jock Chapdelaine had talked about, and they try to do it to give Raymond Adams a chance to see the football. There he is. There's another running back there. There's 1, 2, 3 lined up in the bunch to the right side. Calvin Anderson, one of them. Scott Dybert. Now there, Raymond Adams is the guy who gets the ball. Now they can throw the ball out of that as well. I should say Antonio Warren.
Stampeders looking at 2nd and 8 here. Crandall from the shotgun with time. He'll have Loud for a first down. Camille Loud.
Yeah, the offensive line for Calgary also doing their job. And we talked about, if you don't have those drops, how many more yards does Marcus Crandall have passing? Look at that lane open up. I mean, that is just, you got nice vision down the field to the spot you want to throw the football, and here it comes right into that hole, and bam.
Gain of 15. Stampeders roll along here with 1:19 to go till halftime. Crandall under the coverage this time. And Johnson makes the catch. Rob Johnson halfway to a first down. Wrapped up by Roundtree, who's made a lot of tackles this afternoon. Number 23, Alfonso Roundtree.
Well, I'm starting to get a sense here that this offensive line for the Calgary Stampeders starting to dominate the line of scrimmage a little bit. You saw that one series where Clinton Wayne up front started to get some pressure, stop the run, but now Jamie Crysdale, Fred Childress, and Jay McNeil, especially on that left side of the line, really settling in and starting to dominate the line of scrimmage.
This will be 2nd and 5 into the final minute now of the opening half, and Crandall has another target. It's Don Blair, who had the touchdown on a 35-yard reception on the opening drive.
See Fred Childress again. Michael Barreau really just nullified in the pass rush completely. Big Fred Childress right here, and watch how he just stands up and stops the pass rush completely from Michael Barreau. Just Barreau is up, bam, stands him straight up, moves him right into the middle, and see again a huge passing lane there for Crandall to complete that ball to Don Blair.
3rd catch of the afternoon for Blair. He has 65 yards. 3 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side for Crandall on first down, and it'll be close to another first down. In fact, Loud's catch should give the Stampeders the first down. They're definitely in field goal range here. They'll move the chains.
Worth looking at it again. I just think this offensive line really starting to play well for Calgary. Fred Childress and Jeff Pilon on the ends The two tackle guys are really allowing Marcus Crandall to move around a little bit. There's one of them right there, Childress, and then on the other side, Jeff Pilon. Now, they're going to nullify the pass rush and allow Crandall, if he wants to, see that inside move, to just pop outside, have a passing lane, and an ability to have a target and be able to see the target down the field.
Interesting stories developing here this afternoon with the Stampeders moving the ball effectively. Mark McLaughlin hitting a couple of field goals.
And Durazio's got the guys, he's as intense as they are out there. That's the offensive line coach for Calgary. That's one intense individual, and you can see him pacing that sideline a little bit. Tough for him to stand still.
Less than 40 seconds till halftime. Crandall over the middle. Tunkara has the catch. And the ball squirted loose. John Grace comes up with it. So 27 seconds to go. Grace.
That's a big play for Ottawa.
Has his 5th fumble recovery of the season.
John, you know, that's a big play for Ottawa. This time it's, again, the offensive line does their job. They see the blitz coming, and the blitz is the decision of Marcus Crandall. He's got to pick up that. No one's going to pick up the blitz there. They see up the middle from Donovan Carter, the safety. That's the responsibility of the quarterback. Marcus Crandall sees it. He throws it over the middle. He has Tunkara, and then John Grace just rips it right out of there. Another forced fumble for John Grace. He now has 6 in the CFL, #1 in the league. He is the league leader in this category and a guy that just keeps making plays. John Grace will likely be the defensive nominee for this team when the awards come around.
Not only forced the fumble, he got the fumble as well. That was his 5th recovered fumble. Jimmy Oliver. And less than 20 seconds till halftime. Clemens tries to get the Renegades moving here.
You know, some are even saying here in Ottawa that John Grace may be the outstanding player nominee. That's how well he's played in the linebacking core this year.
Well, he got a chance to be a starter, and he's taken full advantage of that without question. From the 43. Over the middle.
Ah, yeah.
And there are the flags.
Yeah, you're going to get called on that one. Huh?
Damon Hodge.
I thought it was Deshaun Austin that came in there, and Damon Hodge went up for the ball, and he got hit in the back.
Forward pass interference. Calgary, number 33. First down.
They got Austin for it.
See, there's the hit, and then the ball arrives. Split second later. That's a good call by the official. That's just timing was off by a split second. It's the 3rd time now in this game this afternoon in 3 different plays. A special teams play, a running play, and now that in the passing game. The timing has been a factor.
Now, time on the clock is also a factor. 9.2 seconds unofficially here.
They get it out of there in a hurry.
24-yard play. Here's the touchdown toss. And Reggie Jones and the quarterback, Chuck Clements, still trying to get their timing down. Did Tillman make a catch on the far side out of bounds?
Eric Tillman, the general manager, standing right in the corner of that end zone. Reggie Jones was in behind the coverage, and Chuck Clements just missed him by about 1.5 yards. It fell right into the hands of the general manager, and then, you know, he can show him the film tomorrow and say,
well, yeah, except obviously we don't have a replay, so there's maybe no proof that he actually caught it.
There you go. Well, the game film will show it, though, because that shows the
big
entire
and wide,
field.
Yeah, okay. Lawrence Tynes missed his last attempt, so this will be spotted right on the 50 by Glenn Harper. He hammers this, and he's got it. So an interesting turn of events as the Renegades recover a fumble and march for a field goal. A little something to cheer about at halftime.
Well, it's momentum for Eric Tillman's Ottawa Renegades going in at the half.
Stampeders have the lead 13-6 on Wendy's CFL Live at the half. Ottawa head coach Joe Paopao.
You know, we got to control the line of scrimmage, and then we got to make plays, can't put the ball on the ground, and you know, those are just things that we can do. We must do the second half to take this game. So, you know, it's about execution.
You have new receivers. Is that all part of it as well, getting the timing down?
No, you know what? Those are excuses that people make when you're not doing well. You know what? They're pros. We're pros as coaches. We'll get it done.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Well, what they did get was a little momentum just to end that half when you get the 6-point turnaround. Calgary Stampeders were in position to, at the very least, kick a field goal and go up 16-3. They didn't. They fumbled. A couple plays later, Ottawa kicks a field goal of their own. Now it's a 6-point turnaround, 13-6, and it's that much closer in momentum for Ottawa.
Yeah, not a huge shift in momentum, but I mean, in reality, it's got to give the Renegades a little bit of a boost going in at halftime, because offensively, Ottawa did not move the football very effectively in the first half.
Well, we saw a reverse for the Calgary Stampeders on the opening kickoff. Interesting to see what they've got under their sleeve now.
Ramon Adams returning for the Stampeders. Not bad out near the 40. Clarkson making the tackle after a 24-yard return. So here's how the quarterbacks stack up. Marcus Crandall versus Chuck Clements.
3 drops for Marcus Crandall, so that would have been 17 of 20. A real good half of football. That would have been 85%. Throws that were right on the money, dropped by his receivers. Chuck Clements had a couple of his own. It would have been 10 of 16 for Clements. But ifs and buts, candy and nuts, whatever that saying goes.
It all makes for a Merry Christmas if they were, right?
And we're a ways away from Christmas. So that's what both teams really have to straighten out in this second half, and that's just hang on to the football a little better.
Well, and the Renegades had a few misinterpretations of patterns, too. Here's Crandall looking deep, first play. Coverage was too tight, no flags anywhere. Adams was the target.
That's getting Ramon Adams in the game and getting him one-on-one, but what they want to do, Calgary Stampeders, you see there's Antonio Warren's in the game, there's Calvin Anderson, Scott Dybert was on the other side, and the receiver, Ramon Adams, all running backs in the game. And what they're hoping to get the matchup is Ramon Adams on a linebacker. They didn't get that matchup. What they got was Ricky Bell playing deep there, and Ricky Bell knocked it out of there.
Rob Johnson to the near side. 3 receivers set to this side of the field. And Blair Ruiz steals it from Blair. Blair was the target, thought he had it. Donnie Ruiz took it away.
Well, he really did take it away as they were going down, because it looked like a simultaneous catch to me. Both players catching the ball basically at the exact same time. And if that happens, the catch goes to the offensive player, in this case, Don Blair. But it looked like Blair really only had his right hand in there, and Donald Ruiz had both.
Yeah, that's grand theft football.
He's going the other way. See, Don Blair really had no leverage because he just had his right hand in there. And Ruiz showed that ball to the official right away, so there was no mistake.
In a 1-touchdown game, that turnover could be rather important before the afternoon is done. Renegades set up just outside the 45. Clements in trouble, can't get it away. Malvo blitzing there, comes through and wraps him up. So Kelly Malvo comes up with a big play for the Stampeders right after the interception.
Well, it's a great play by Malvo, because he comes from this side of the field and he doesn't go for the fake, and he goes upfield and gets good contained position. If Kelly Malvo goes for that fake and goes flat along the line of scrimmage, then Clements is outside with lots of room to throw. Malville stops that play by disciplined pass rush, containing the quarterback.
Loss of 9. 2nd and 19 facing the Renegades. Shotgun for Clements. Got it away in a hurry. Jones makes the catch, and there's nowhere to run after that. 3 Stampeders were waiting. Bray was 1, number 11.
Now, Reggie Jones was the underplayer, and the Calgary Stampeders just rushed 3, and they dropped everybody else, and that's why Clements really had to throw it to Jones. But remember that one that Tillman caught in the corner that Jones was going deep on? Look for Ottawa to come back to that play again. Clements was there. He missed him by about 3 yards. But Reggie Jones got in behind the corners, the Calgary Stampeders. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to that very soon.
Antonio Warren, 1 of 2 deep for the Stampeders on a 3rd down kicking situation for Ottawa.
Now, John, you know, we talked about pulling out all the stops in a game like this, in a game that both teams are so desperate to win. And we haven't seen a fake in the punt formation yet. You got to think that both teams have it in the package, especially for this week.
Well, this is 3rd and 13. Glenn Harper had a 72 playing golf yesterday. And his long snapper, Steve Glenn, took one right in the rear while he was putting. Apparently an errant shot from over on another fairway. And Glenn got hit with the golf ball. Says he's okay.
Playing hurt.
Playing hurt.
Well, Iguana was hurt, but it was emotionally. He was upset with having to call a timeout on special teams like this. In a close game, it could come back. Now they've lost their second half timeout.
Is Antonio Warren. Penalty marker was down well before that catch. We'll take a break and sort things out at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa.
So Dwayne McKnight has said to me many times, taught Michael Vick everything he knows. Of course, he was a linebacker coach, but he worked with Michael Vick a little bit as well.
Yeah. Same high school.
Yeah.
Holding against Calgary. And that means the Stampeders start back at the 10. Calvin Anderson. And Wilshire was there to make the stop after a 7-yard gain.
You know, the concern for Ottawa has got to be the fact that their defensive line has just been worn down by these big guys up front. I mean, this pitch that's going to cut right back into the right side of that line, you can see that Calvin Anderson is not even hit until he gets down to Donovan Carter, the safety. Kelly Wilshire, the linebacker. Dan Durazio's got a good game plan together for that offensive line, and they've been dominating since about halfway through the second quarter.
Anderson again. Got about 28 yards for Anderson on the afternoon thus far, coming up short of a first down.
And they may have to bring that one in just to measure it. No, they're gonna give it to him.
Well, it is a first down, and I stand corrected.
You know, one of the concerns when you look at the defensive line for the Ottawa Renegades is John Frank out of Utah playing in his first game. They're real excited about him. He's 280 pounds and he's 6'3". The question is, will he be in game shape? These guys keep rotating through. Clinton Wayne has played pretty consistently, but the rest of them rotated through. Are they still in shape?
On first down, Rob Johnson. And that'll be another Calgary Stampeder first down out near the 35. Calgary leading 13-6.
Because, John, if your defensive line, the front four guys, and right now Jerome Haywood is on one knee, and this is the concern. Are the guys still in game shape? He's down there, and he's just trying to get all the wind he can right there to try and get ready for the next play. If you can't get pressure with four guys, then you have to send blitz. When you send blitz, you're leaving your defensive backs all by themselves.
From the shotgun, Crandall. And he one-hopped that one to the far side. Another penalty marker is down. This one is going against Ottawa.
Yeah, I think Michael Barreau there just hit Marcus Crandall a little bit after the fact, so they may be getting a little tired, and now the frustration creeps in, and then they get a little penalty.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Ottawa, number 92, first down.
Michael Barreau, number 92. Again, watch this four-man rush. He's up here at the top. Barreau goes off the edge, and Crandall has time initially. He's working on Jeff Pilon, and then a couple steps, and then throws him to the ground.
Stampeders will have a first down as a result at the 51. Crandall with time and a target too far for Johnson. Had all the time in the world to get it there and overthrew him by about 7 or 8 yards.
Well, but he threw it to the wrong spot. I mean, you got receiver running on an angle, Rob Johnson, and Rob Johnson on that angle, the ball goes over the other shoulder. So that one will be on Marcus Crandall, and Crandall will grab it. He grabbed his jersey. You saw him there saying, oh, that was my fault. Because if he throws that one close to the sideline, then he gives Rob Johnson a chance to run back towards it.
Second and 10, Stampeders. Crandall got rid of it in a hurry. Is it picked? Roundtree has it.
I'm not sure how they waved that off. They're going to wave that off, but I don't think that ball ever hit the ground.
Roundtree had it in his hands. Blair was the target, and Blair had one stolen out of his mitts earlier, not this time.
Well, and Don Blair kept fighting for it, and maybe he did get this ball on the ground. It's going to be over here to the right of your screen. This ball comes out, a quick out pattern from Don Blair. Roundtree breaks on it. He really is there first. Now they keep fighting. I didn't see that ball hit the ground, though. Roundtree has it. Roundtree has it. Well, it must have stuck between the two of them there.
Between the two of them where we didn't have a vantage point. So Blair.
Well, Blair becomes defensive back and really saves the interception and a bunch of field position.
Blair had a touchdown earlier. He's had some difficulty since then. Marcellus Turner, they call him Archie here. And there was nowhere for Archie to go. Stopped in his tracks at the 29 after a return of 9. Renegades, though, don't you?
Well, yeah. Something tells me he could have put the long version on there.
I think you're right. It's Ottawa first down. Good play action fake. And a completion. Jimmy Oliver. And the play was doomed. Oliver maybe has a yard.
Well, the Ottawa Renegades keep using the short game and the little hitch passes to the outside. Oliver, they try and get Josh Ronick involved. Chris Schultz mentioned it at halftime. Ronick in the running game has been nullified by this Calgary defense. That's why Joe Paopao is so concerned, because without a running game, a young quarterback in Chuck Clements is now asked to stand back there in the pocket and put a bullseye on his chest.
Well, and the other problem they do have is all these new and exciting receivers, inexperienced in combination with the quarterback. And when the run game doesn't work, it affects all of that too. Long pass, sidelines. Oliver was the intended receiver on the streak pattern there. And William Fields was with him stride for stride.
Yeah, you can't be in any better position. William Fields did it textbook down the sideline. Jimmy Oliver tried to out-jump him at the end of the play, and Fields even played that well. I mean, it was just one-on-one out here. There's Fields. He's got a nice cushion. Now Oliver will eat up the cushion. That's the distance between defensive back and receiver. He eats it up in about 15 yards, but Fields is calm. He turns, looks back to the ball, puts his left hand up, knocks it out of there.
So William Fields makes the play. As a result, Ottawa in a punting situation.
Depending on what kind of speed you have, your cushion is eaten up quicker or slower. I didn't have much cushion for very long. Cushion was gone.
He has some pipes, doesn't he, Gerald Vaughn? We talked about the play with Vaughn last week, and this was it. 109 yards on the interception return.
He was warming up, and I loved when you walked by him. We were standing right at the goal line, and you said, you took it right from about here, didn't you?
Yeah, and he walked back a yard, said, no, right here.
Yeah.
109. He got there in plenty of time, and that was really how the Renegades beat the Stampeders. First down, Calgary. Crandall slides it to Regenbalds out of the backfield, and Vaughn is there to welcome him.
He brought those guns, and he took them off the shelf and took a couple shots. You talked about him. He can do it on special teams. He had the big interception. This is that running back formation from Calgary with 4 running backs out there, and watch big Gerald Vaughn come up and put the hammer right there with their right arm. Knocked the ball right out of there. Now, Scott Diver was already on the ground.
Marcus Crandall has used 7 different receivers now. Set up with a first down at midfield after an 11-yard gain by Regenbalds.
So they got that bunch in there. Running back, running back, running back. Right there.
And Antonio Warren takes the pitch. It fooled the Renegades. Inside the 40, it'll be another first down. A 16-yard gain.
Well blocked to get outside, too. Kelvin Anderson helps out. Kelvin Anderson now has to take a different role in this type of formation and in this particular play. There he is right here. His job is to come out and try and get a block and get some help for Antonio Warren. Regenbald comes out. Jeff Pilon pulls, and a nice hole opens up for Antonio Warren.
Slightly new formation for the Stampeders. It worked for a 16-yard gain. Warren again. Slides to the outside. Penalty flag is down. And it'll be enough for a first down if the penalty goes against Ottawa.
Well, there is a flag. We'll sort that out. I just want to show you this formation quickly because from this formation, you're going to see another play come pretty soon. This is the play right here to Warren this way, but Calvin Anderson comes around and they run the fake option coming back the backside. Watch how this one, it goes to Warren. See Calvin Anderson coming there? Now Grace took the quarterback. Look for them to come back to that play. When Grace steps up to Marcus Crandall, he'll pitch it out to Calvin Anderson. Calvin Anderson would have had a touchdown. Now
14th penalty against the Stampeders for 119 yards. David Heisman holding. Shotgun on 1st and 20. Crandall steps up. And this one is picked and held on. Sean Gallant comes up with the interception.
They're not sure. They're talking about it right now. 3 officials down on the sideline. Now it's 4. They're not sure if that was caught or not. Ken Lazaruk, the referee, comes in to make sure. What do you got, guys? And they're saying second down. Sean Gallant covered a lot of distance to get over there, a lot of ground. He got over there from right in here. So that's about middle of the field. Now he slides over. Because this play takes a while to develop, Marcus Crandall steps up. He has time to get all the way over there. And it looked like on the first bounce, it may have touched the ground and then bounced up into his hands. Coming right at your screen.
Can't tell.
Right there, yeah, I think it did touch the ground. That's a good call. And you know, it's the right thing for the officials to go over there without trying to argue with each other. Just make sure you get it right, because it could be that important to the outcome of this game.
So now it is 2nd and 20 Stampeders. Renegades come close again. Crandall looks deep, and he's 10 yards too far. Don Blair was the intended receiver, number 82.
You know, Blair got off to a real good start. Now he's having a little bit of trouble shaking Alfonso Roundtree a little bit. And this is a nice matchup that's been developed throughout this game this afternoon. As Don Blair had that first touchdown, remember the one that started the game in the first series? That was from the outside coming back in. Now, since Blair's moved inside, he's get one-on-one with Alfonso Roundtree a bunch. And a couple of times we saw Roundtree in the last series almost had an interception. Blair had to pull it out of there. And the way that Don Blair can help himself is to a little more burst up the field and try and get Alfonso Roundtree to turn his hips and get out of there.
So the Renegades defense held and forced the Stampeders into a punting situation. O'Mani across the 50. Archie Turner stopped by the first wave of Stampeders, escaped that. Nice little dance there and some good moves to get out to the 20 for a 15-yard return. Every yard helps the Renegades on a sunny Sunday in Ottawa. He's sitting here along the banks of the Rideau Canal in Ottawa. Nice to be back for Sunday football here at Frank Clair Stadium. Renegades are 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 19. Play action fake. Clement steps up. Will he get it away? He did, but he couldn't connect with Reggie Jones. Number 87, there was too much heat.
Well, he's overthrown a couple of receivers, but that's not Chuck Clement's fault. I mean, he was trying to dodge a minefield there to try and find a way to get the ball out of there. The pocket just collapses, and then he has to just dance around in the middle and try and get it out. 4-man rush from the Calgary Stampeders. Tyrone Rogers, the first one to get to him, but he was tiptoeing his way through there. Now, without a running game, that defensive line just says, we're going to get you.
Josh Ronick, the Renegades runner, has not been able to get on track this afternoon. Here's Clements sprinting and looking deep. He's got it. Nigel Williams had it sneak through, and he's inside the 15. Lucky to be good, good to be lucky. The Ottawa defender missed on the play, and it slid through for Nigel Williams.
Jason Bray had the football. Now, that's a bit of a size mismatch. Jason Bray at 5'11", Nigel Williams at 6'4". We said it right out of the beginning of the game that Joe Paopao loves the size of his slot backs, but watch Jason Bray. He has a chance at it right there. It goes right through his hands and into the arms of Nigel Williams.
Did he go for the interception? Quite likely.
Well, he did, and he had it lined up, and it went through his hands.
Nigel Williams, a 78-yard reception with 3:36 to go in the third quarter. Renegades are down by a touchdown at 13-6. And this is the best opportunity Ottawa has had to get into the end zone all afternoon. Set up inside the 15.
Oh, I was going to say, they had Turner. John, they had Archie Turner, Marcellus Turner out there one-on-one on Alondra Johnson.
Time count violation. Ottawa, number 10. Still first down.
Well, that was, they had two players that they were going to go at. It was at the backside of the field, and by formation, Mark Nora and Archie Turner had come out to the short side of the field, and they had Otis Floyd and Alondra Johnson in one-on-one. Because they couldn't get the ball snapped in time, they couldn't take advantage of it. Now they have to go back to a regular formation.
78-yard gain, setting Ottawa up now 1st and 15 after the penalty. Largest gain prior to that was 24 yards, a little shovel pass. Well read by Calgary's Melvin Bradley.
Some formation problems. Again, that's the second play in a row now for the Renegades, because that's a play that, you know, is generally designed to go to Josh Ronick or at least Mark Nora, one of the running backs.
And went to Jimmy Oliver
in the lineup, but so it looks like a lot of confusion. And the idea is that this is a running back. It's Nora coming out here. He takes off, and then see all the cross motion, and then there's Jimmy Oliver comes back, and he's the shovel guy in there.
No gain, 2nd and 15. Clemens, end zone toss. He's got it. No catch. No flag. Tight coverage. Malcolm Johnson was the intended receiver, number 80. The coverage was too good.
Well, see, young quarterbacks can often get locked into one receiver, and you could tell that Chuck Clemens wanted to go to Malcolm Johnson the entire time. And Malcolm Johnson is the wheel guy. He's the guy to the outside and down the sideline. Probably the toughest throw to complete for Clemens. Had he just made the read and looked at the defense, he had Nigel Williams right over the middle, wide open.
Harper will put it down. Lawrence Tynes will get the Renegades 3 points closer. And lots of time left here in Ottawa. 2:27 to go in the third quarter.
Well, they'll take the points on the Nigel Williams catch over Jason Bray. But on that second down play, just show you what Chuck Clemens, I mean, he's going to have Nigel Williams slide right through here, and it's probably the easier throw for him. So he drops back. See, he locks out on this direction. That's where he's looking the entire time to go over. And as you saw to the right of your screen there, Nigel Williams was wide open in behind. He slides through. Nigel Williams is right there. He's going to come right in here. See number 96 right there, 86. Wide open, waving his hands, going, oh, if you just toss it up, we've got a touchdown. And that's right in his vision. But Clemens had locked into the outside to Malcolm Johnson. And those ones, that's the one that the coach looks at halftime or at the end of the game, and he takes a look at the film, and he goes, "Oh, we had one there. That was a missed opportunity."
Well, they get 3. It's a 4-point game, and there's lots of time to go. Momentum might be shifting just a little bit after a good start by the Stampeders. Ramon Adams began at the 10. Still standing as he crosses the 40 and the 50 to midfield. Tony Ruiz over to make the tackle. And there was a lost helmet on the return. Back near the 25. Jason Kralt is going back to pick up the helmet.
Oh, what was great about Jason Kralt there is he went in there. He lost his helmet, but he didn't stop. You know, and this is a collision sport. When you're playing football, what you don't want to do is ever place on the left of your screen, the helmet pops off right there, and he rolls around the ground. Then he got up after that, and he chased after Ramon Adams. And
He was a good 20 yards upfield before he realized he'd lost his helmet.
Well, he's still playing without his hat on, and this is a game that you want to play with the hat. You got to have that hat on.
Adams sets the Stampeders up right at midfield with a first down. Dangerous toss out there. Johnson makes the catch. It'll be a Calgary first down. 10-yard gain. Now he's lost a hat.
You guys got to buckle up. You always hear that. You better buckle up. And it's really simple. You see there's a couple buckles. See Marcus Crandall, he's got the buckle at the top and the buckle down there at the bottom.
Well, it's just like putting on a snowsuit, isn't it?
You got to buckle up.
Buttons.
You got to have both on, and there's two on the opposite side, and then a hard chin strap underneath there. And the chin strap, it's the same in hockey. It's almost as important as the helmet to keeping the thing on.
Well, in hockey, they don't use the chin strap.
Yeah, I know. They let that hang down there, and that's something that probably causes more concussions than anything else.
Looks cooler, though.
Well, you got to look sweet.
You're looking
you got to
cool
look
out
sweet.
there.
No, that's the thing. You know, in that respect, football players, they don't wear pads in their pants for the most part because that doesn't look sweet. And you get at the pro level. When you're a kid, you have to wear them. It's mandatory. But at the pro level, you can wear whatever you want. A lot of players won't put the pads in their pants. It doesn't look sweet.
That'll look cool out there. From the 45, Gerald Vaughn had his hands on it, and he held on. Johnson was the intended receiver, and Gerald Vaughn has another interception from Marcus Crandall.
Now, Rob Johnson just can't get Gerald Vaughn off. These two halfbacks are really settling in. You got Alfonso Roundtree and Gerald Vaughn. This time it's going to be Vaughn, a layer route coming across here from Rob Johnson. And Johnson just can't get him off him. See, he's right on his shoulder, and then when the ball's in the air, that's when Gerald Vaughn makes his move. We talked about it with Don Blair. If a receiver can push the defensive back upfield and get him back, get him to turn and run, he can get him off him. And Vaughn and Alfonso Roundtree right now are basically, they're playing like white jerseys on the back of these receivers.
Talked about momentum shifting here. That's the third turnover by the Stampeders in the last 5 possessions. First down, Ottawa. Little shovel pass to Ronick. And that hasn't worked real well either. Bradley was there waiting for him.
You know, this play's not working well, and it hasn't in this game. And I'll tell you why. Is the defensive line for Calgary are controlling their pass rush. They don't fly up the field completely until they read it and decide what the Renegade offense wants to do. Jim Daly has them in a controlled pass rush right now.
Calgary, number 51, first down.
Alondra Johnson gets a penalty after the fact, which will give Ottawa a first down. But that controlled rush really eliminates that play, because for Ottawa to have the shovel pass work, they need the defensive line to move way down the field. They need to get up 5-6 yards, and then the shovel pass goes in behind them. But if Jim Daly has his defensive line in a controlled rush, that shovel pass is always going to be right into the arms of one of those D linemen.
15th penalty against the Stampeders. That's too many. Clements has to hurry this, has Oliver, and in desperation, he overthrew him with William Fields covering, and he missed Oliver by about 5 yards.
See, again, the defensive line sort of steps off the field. They recognize that it's drop back pass, and then they go ahead and go after the quarterback, Tom Clements. Well, I knew I was going to say it sooner or later. Chuck Clements, and he forces Clements. They force Clements out of the pocket, but it's the initial rush is to read, and then it's go after the passer.
This is 2nd and 10. Chuck Clements has room to run. Needed to make a move at the 50, and he comes up short of the first down. He was lucky, perhaps, on the final play of the 3rd quarter.
Well, lucky to get down, or he was going to be finding his helmet somewhere.
So 1 quarter to go here in Ottawa this afternoon. It's been close all the way. Calgary continues to cling to the lead, and the Ottawa quarterback, Chuck Clements, down just in time.
Yeah, not a lot of points being scored in Ottawa today. The Ottawa Renegades almost had 2 interceptions earlier in this third quarter. They finally get one for good from Gerald Vaughan, his second against the Calgary Stampeders in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's right. Calgary started off on fire, Dave, in this football game. Crandall was on fire. He completed his first 2 passes. His second one went for a touchdown. But then things went awry from there. And it was a situation where they're not on the same page. We take a look at it here. Drop ball here. Ball's behind. Blair can't squeeze it. Then here, ball's almost picked, but Blair does a nice job becoming defender. And then going over the top, Crandall's will play action, buy some time, gives Ramon Adams an opportunity to go down the post. Now this is a ball I think should be caught. A scenario where Crandall's receivers are not on the same page. I think what's going to happen is you could possibly see Wally Buono go to the bench and bring in Ben Sankey. He got a lot more reps this week, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that. With Calgary and Jock, with also Clemens possibly being pulled, going to the bench there. So a lot of quarterbacks aren't getting it done. I think there's an opportunity to see new guys behind the center in this fourth quarter.
I hope we do see that on both sides of the ball. Now, I want to have a look at a little wrinkle that Calgary's defense likes to run against Ottawa, and they run it with some success. What they like to do is bring a halfback blitz off the edge, but they do it on first down. Here they did it in the first quarter, and here you got Jason Bray coming off the edge. This is the halfback, folks. He's not trying to get necessarily to the quarterback. He's trying to prevent any misdirection plays. And here we see in the third quarter, Kelly Malvo coming off the edge. So when Ottawa tries a little bootleg, no. Quarterback's got a guy right in his face. This is something that Calgary has liked to do for a long time, Schultz.
And Jock, I want to show the ultimate in detail on how a receiver can really help a quarterback. Malcolm Johnson, physically gifted, 6'5", but watch right at this point, right there, freeze. You see how he's protecting his body right there? Most receivers that are great never protect their body, and he's got to learn to sell out a little bit better than that.
And a quick update from Toronto. The Argos have a 21-14 lead over Hamilton in the fourth quarter, guys.
On third down, Harper just got that one away. Antonio Warren at the 20 and dropped in his tracks at the 24. Cummings, the ex-Stampeder, leading the tacklers there. Well, we'll see what Calgary can do to counteract what's happened here.
Well, it would be a worse score except for this for Calgary, and it looks like Ottawa has just decided that the running game is not a factor anymore.
Well, they owe 4 yards on the rushing game this afternoon.
Yeah, they owe 4. But those turnovers really for Calgary has been the difference, and that's why the score is still close, and Ottawa is still in it.
Well, turnovers and penalties against Calgary. Crandall pumps once, looks to the near side, has Johnson, 55-yard line. And that's a huge play to get the Stampeders out from inside the 25.
And it gives the receivers a chance now, because you know how the defensive backs kept crawling up and getting close. Saw the Gerald Vaughan interception. It's going to be the out and then the up, a pump fake, and Donald Ruiz bites on the first pump fake. Here comes the out. Well, actually a little curl and go, not the out. But he bit down on it, and Donald Ruiz is now in a chase. What that does is it backs those defensive backs off, too. Now they got to go, uh-oh. Okay, the double moves are coming. We better back up a bit.
32-yard gain. Stampeders right at midfield. Another penalty marker is down as Antonio Warren carries for a couple.
So it's not only did they get the gain, the Calgary Stampeders, but it's a nice call from Jacques Chapdelaine, because he saw his receivers struggling to get those defensive backs, especially the halfback, Gerald Vaughan and Alfonso Roundtree, to get them to turn their hips and get off them. Now,
offside, Ottawa, number 91, first down, repeated.
Now, a double move like that, now in the back of Gerald Vaughan's head and Alfonso Roundtree across the board, those guys, in the back of their minds now, they're thinking, okay, the offensive coordinator, Jacques Chapdelaine, is going with a couple double moves now. I've got to stay off a little bit and play a little safer. I can't jump the first move from the receivers. It really should give the Calgary receivers some more room to operate underneath.
Antonio Warren wrapped up. Boireau makes the tackle, number 92. A 3-yard loss, the results.
One of the few times in this really second half, all the way halfway through the second quarter, that the defensive line for the Ottawa Renegades have stepped up and won a one-on-one battle. It really has been all offensive line for the Calgary Stampeders since about midway through the second.
Second down, 8 to go, Calgary. Crandall with time. He'll take off. Marcus Crandall will be short of the first down. Clinton Wayne, another ex-Stampeder, was there.
What Wally Buono did get, though, is he got some field position back. The Rob Johnson catch on the sideline should not only give his receivers some help as this quarter winds down, but also gets that field position. That's the key right now. Who can win the war for real estate? And with real estate, you know what they say. Location, location, location.
You were setting me up for that one beautifully. Really doesn't matter where you are. That's what they say about real estate.
Location, location.
Location.
What Calgary wants is the location to be way down there by the Beaver Lodge.
O'Mani angles it for the corner, puts it in the end zone. And one would have thought that Archie Turner might have given up a point there.
That's a mistake. Archie Turner should have given up a point.
Here in Ottawa this afternoon.
You mentioned it at the break. If all those guys sit in the same section, it could be a strange looking section in Edmonton. Kind of a combination between Carrot Top and Tom Arnold, really. But
a little thinner than Tom.
Yeah, a little thinner, but he's as wild, and they all sit together.
It's going to be a weird section, isn't it?
It'll be a wild section.
We'll find somebody in Montreal to join the group on Sunday afternoon next.
I'll tell you, that Archie Turner mistake is costing so far a bunch of real estate for Ottawa. See if they can crawl out of it.
2nd and 5 here, Clements. And Turner turns things around for the Renegades. He's still going. So he atones for the error back in the end zone. He's out at the 50.
He sure does. And he really, that may be the biggest catch of his young career. Whether they win or lose, because it was a crucial error. It's a 4-point game. You give up a single and get the 35-yard line. You've got a whole bunch of field position to work with now. That's down on the 3, but he does make up for it with a catch right here and the run after the catch to get up by midfield. 40 yards on the play.
So maybe it was all part of the plan. What do you think?
Hardly. Okay.
First down for Chuck Clements, and a little positive running yardage for the Renegades there.
They're throwing one in for good measure, just to go. They want to get the 4 yards back.
Well, if that's a 4-yard gain, and it is, the Renegades are now even, right?
Yeah.
They were -4 after 3 quarters. 0 yards rushing this afternoon.
You know, they give credit to the Calgary defensive line. They game planned for it. They got James Cotton back, and it's made a difference.
2nd and 6. Chuck Clements. Reggie Jones was the target. Deshaun Austin was covering.
The design of this play is to try and get Deshaun Austin to look at the deep guy and hesitate for just a second. If he looks at the deep guy and Jones comes underneath, he's got some room. The deep guy is going to come down like this, and Jones with a step comes underneath. And if he comes underneath like that and Deshaun Austin peeks at the deep guy, there's no play. But he doesn't. He comes downhill and is right there when the ball arrives.
Renegades set to punt with Harper standing deep and Antonio Warren waiting for the Stampeders. Harper across the 40 to get a pretty good kick away. This is Antonio Warren. Nice return, and he ran into the other number 6, Jason Kraltz, after a 16-yard return. It's still on the line in Ottawa with 9:43 to go. Friday night we'll be in Waterloo for Western and Waterloo on CAS football to kick off a great evening at 7 o'clock Eastern, followed by Wendy's Friday Night Football as we head to a battle for 2nd place in the CFL West. The Blue Bombers and the Lions from BC Place. Hope you can join us for lots of football on Friday night.
BC Place had their biggest crowd of the season their last home game. I think this one might top it.
Crandall had no chance. John Grace blitzing through, got the Calgary quarterback.
Set up, he gets some help from the newcomer, John Frank. Because of the alignment from Grace, the two Johns are here, how they come in the gaps here. Watch this 91 right here. That's Frank. He opens it up. There's John Grace, and then he's going to slide in, and he's clean to Marcus Crandall. That opens it up. Influences Bobby Singh, who slides to the outside and opens up the lane for Grace to hit it.
Result, an 8-yard loss, 2nd and 18, Calgary. Crandall to his right. He'll take off across the original line of scrimmage, but a long way from a first down as Clinton Wayne, number 90, forced him out.
Well, one play has made such a big difference in a close game here for Ottawa. Archie Turner and that one catch he had changed field position so drastically. Remember, Ottawa, series ago, started on their 3-yard line. If Calgary gets the 2-and-out there, Calgary really can start to dominate and seal this game.
And then a 40-yard gain by Turner on the reception.
Yeah, and now on a punt.
A 2-and-out for Calgary, and look where Ottawa's going to be, right?
Ottawa's going to pick it up. Turner gets the ball. He'll probably catch it around his own 30, 35. He gets any type of return. That's about a 40-yard field position switch because of that one play, and it's a big one. It could be the difference. Real estate.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're with Century 21 or Remax or any of those companies. It's very important.
Well, and you know the
location.
That's what the game is really all about. It's a game about and why 12 guys and 12 guys on the other side battle and fight and scratch and claw, and all they're trying to do.
Please reset the clock to read 8:36. 8:36, please.
So there was no penalty there. They're just fixing the clock here.
But they take that little football. And they get all those guys. Now it's 40 on each team, 12 on the field at once.
Please reset the clock to read 8:36.
And they scratch and claw to advance that football. And that's about as fundamental as you can get with this game.
Stampeders have had the lead all the way. It is still 13-9 Calgary. Critical game for both teams with any hope of making the playoffs. A victory here this afternoon is really critical for Ottawa and for Calgary. Big charge on O'Mani. He got it away. This is Turner. And he's to the 40, hangs on to the ball. And perhaps that's more important than a big return there. 1st and 10 Ottawa when we return to Lansdowne. Back for the Renegades.
Thought it may happen a little earlier when Chuck Clements was struggling throwing that deep ball, and now Dan Crowley gets a chance one more time to see if he can move the team. And I love what he did. We were in commercial, but what he did when he came into that huddle, basically touched every one of the players. High fives all the way around, rallying the troops and saying, guys, got to go win this game. I'm going to lead you to the promised land.
Well, he was number 1 when the season got underway. Crowley's first pass, far side, and he put it a little low. Intended for Darren Joseph, and he started well, Dan Crowley, as the quarterback in Ottawa, and then sputtered a little bit. And that's when Clements came in and took the job, and this was Clements' 3rd start here this afternoon.
You know, and his percentage is not bad, his yardage not terrible. The 1 interception, no touchdowns, but the bottom line is time is running out, and they're still behind in this game by 4, and this change is kind of like throwing in your relief pitcher trying to get something going.
Crowley escapes. Can he get a first down here? Huge play for Dan Crowley. He likes to run, and he's out near the 40-yard line with a 27-yard scamper right there.
Yeah, and you know, and Val St. Germain runs over there, and Mike Abu-Meshrik, he's just going to come back here and then just step up in the lane when he sees it open. And then the speed to the outside to get that first down. But what I love about it is at the end of the play, Mike Abu-Meshrik comes all the way across. They love Dan Crowley. This team has rallied behind him even though he's struggled. And a lot of those offensive linemen are taking part of the responsibility for the struggle. And Abu-Meshrik was over there to congratulate him after that run.
4 receivers to the near side. Penalty markers are down. Crowley goes to Ronick, the far side. Gets away from 1 tackle. And it'll be a first down Ottawa if the penalty goes against Calgary.
Oh, yeah, you see Chris Burns go over there and open up that hole for Ronick. Matt Dunnigan calls Chris Burns Buzz Lightyear.
It's coming back.
This one's coming back.
Procedure, Ottawa, no end, first down repeated.
Formation problem. Doug Nussmeier over there with Joe Palpau discussing just why that happened. He's helping out with the coordination of the offense and signaling the plays, as you can see.
All right, smart guy. What did he call?
He called a crossing pattern.
Oh, that's with the arms like this, yeah.
And I believe it's going to be Malcolm Johnson, the intended receiver.
4 receivers near side one more time. And Jimmy Oliver should have made the catch. Right through his hands.
You know,
not the quarterback's fault. And there's no excuse.
Well, there is
wide open and no one around.
And it's a big play. It's not going to get a first down. Alondra Johnson was around, and that could have been why he dropped it. But it's a big play because it would put it in about a 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8 situation rather than 2nd and 15. And there's obviously a huge difference there in what you have to do. There's the crossing pattern, and that's...
Well, he had about 5 or 6 yards of territory there.
We talked about the crossing pattern, and Nussmeier signaled it, and that was the crosser.
2nd down. Crowley looks to run again, or will he throw? He's got Oliver out in front, and Crowley comes up short of the first down, grabbed from behind. About 2 yards shy. Well, they got a favorable spot. We'll see how close it really is.
Oh,
he had Oliver wide open just in front.
Boy, you want to be a coach?
You want to make this call?
You want to make this call? 3rd down and over a yard. And Joe Palpau, you must like the momentum that Dan Crowley has brought to the huddle. Because you go now, it's over 5 minutes left. You kick a field goal here. Now it's a 1-point game. A single can tie it.
And the running game has not been effective for the Renegades all afternoon. This is 3rd down and 2. Ottawa goes gambling here. Mark Nora makes the catch. He'll have the first down.
Well,
he was in first down territory when he made the catch and forced back after that. So the spot is important, but I would say he had necessary yardage.
You know, and what Joe wants here is to not have a measurement, because the measurement is when the coaches get nervous. And they're saying first down. You were absolutely right, Hawkeye.
Every once in a while, the blind squirrel.
Right there, out into the flat. Ronick slips in there, slips green.
So he catches it there, and he's forced back. So the call was correct.
Mark Nora catching it, not Ronick.
First down, Ottawa. This is Jones, the newcomer, number 87, more than halfway to a first down. He's got 7. And Bradley was over to make the tackle. Melvin Bradley, number 74.
Well, if a successful gamble like that doesn't give you momentum and get you pumped up, nothing will. And now it's up to Dan Crowley and this offense to try and capitalize on it. And I have no idea what that play was. But we will see here right now.
Lots on the line for 2 teams. Still hoping to make the playoffs. 2nd down and 3. There's the touchdown toss. And there are the flags. At least one. Damon Hodge was the intended receiver, and the flag came down a little bit late.
Hodge is a receiver on William Fields, and he lines up at the wide receiver position. That's the matchup.
Forward pass interference. Calgary, number 26.
There he is right there.
They call the interference on 26, Malbrough, Anthony Malbrough. So it is first and goal to go at the 1-yard line. Renegades have 3 cracks at taking the lead right here. And he's got it. Josh Ronick has a 1-yard run, and there haven't been many of those this afternoon for the Renegades. But he's in on the first try. A little extra effort gets Ronick into the end zone.
Key play, though, the interference. Anthony Marlborough on the newcomer, the rookie, getting his first chance to play. And we give you that Damon Hodge play one more time. Here he is right here, and when he works down that sideline, then he gets the one-on-one right here. And as Damon Hodge looks back, he tries to go up over the top. He really sells the interference call. And you see Anthony Marlborough had to kind of hesitate to get around the other pattern.
Well, the cheers for the Renegades in Ottawa this afternoon.
See, that outside pattern, John, really influenced Marlborough. And now here's right at the end, after he hesitates, the ball's in the air. Watch how Damon Hodge sells it to try and go over the top. Now, Marlborough did turn around and try and look at the play, but because Damon Hodge had reached over his shoulders, he sold it, and the officials bought it. That set up this touchdown.
Positive running yards for the Ottawa Renegades for the first time. The touchdown makes it +1, I think.
And now the gamble makes Joe Paopao look like a genius.
Well, you taught him a lot when you lived in his basement, didn't you?
Well, I did my rookie year a long, long time ago in '84. Him and his lovely wife Dottie took me under their wings, so to speak, as a rookie. And really, Joe Paopao taught me how to be a pro and how to watch film and all those things. And that's what he does with his players. He expects them to show up and act like a professional every single day.
Well, Dan Crowley got things going with a couple of nice runs, and finally they got some positive yards out of the backfield. Ronick with a 1-yard plunge, and Ottawa has the lead for the first time. Set to kick off, but lots of time to go. 3:13 for the Stampeders to get back. Ramon Adams stopped near the 35. Well, the quarterback came in and led this drive.
Boy, you could tell by the way that Dan Crowley came in there, putting 9 plays together, but how much enthusiasm he brought to the huddle. How bad do you think he's been wanting that second chance to come back in and win a game for Ottawa? Now it's far from over.
Couple of nice runs.
But that is some kind of drive to start things off in your first series.
By Dan Crowley. Let's see what the Stampeders can do to respond. No one home for Marcus Crandall. Kelvin Anderson looked to be the intended receiver. So it'll be second down Calgary. 3 minutes to go here at Frank Clair Stadium on Wendy's CFL Live. Marcus Crandall is on the money, but short of a first down. That was second down.
Comes decision time for Wally Buono now with 2:34 left. There's probably still time to punt the ball, but then he needed 2 and out from his defense.
But
so
that's
now,
a long 3 yards or 2.5.
Yeah, this is a passing down. And they're still not decided. I think Wally Buono just changed his mind on the sideline. Now we'll send in the punt team.
Camille Loud comes up a little shy on 2nd and 10.
You know, John, I like this call. It's a tough decision, and it's got to be tempting when you look at inside of 5 yards to get that first down. But there is still time at 2:32. I mean, tons of time in Canadian football to punt the ball. You may get 2 more possessions before this one's over, and it's only a 3-point game.
2:26 on the clock here at Frank Clair.
Now Archie Turner has other thoughts on his mind as far as all of that strategy goes.
Turner takes it at the 20. Great speed to the far side. He ran a long way for about 3 yards on the return. Bray made the tackle. It'll be 1st and 10 Renegades when we get back. 15-13 lead. A little shovel pass to Ronick.
Well, this is a dilemma that Joe Paopao faces right now because the running game has been non-existent all game long. He can't rely on it at this point, and this is when he needs it the most. With 2 minutes to go, he would love to put the ball in the hands of Josh Ronick and him get 2 or 3 first downs on the ground and end this game. But because it hasn't worked now, he's got to put that ball in the air, and anytime you do that, you can go either way.
Dan Crowley at the controls. He has engineered the lead, almost picked off. Well played defensively by Malvo, who got a hand on it, but he would have been out of bounds coming down, so there wasn't a whole bunch of field in front of him to make a return.
No, but the strategy for Wally Buono works well, and this is the strategy to punt the football. Remember how tempted he was to gamble? Well, he gets what he wants. He gets the 2 and out. Malvo coming downhill to the left of your screen, almost has a chance at it there. But you're right, he probably would have been out of bounds. Now, the strategy is the important part. Wally Buono thought about it hard and long to gamble on that 3rd down about 3.5 yards. He decided to kick it. He gets the 2 and out. And now Antonio Warren, whoever gets this, is going to be about midfield.
Ramon Adams ran into one of his own blockers, and he's near the 50. Or it'll be first down Stampeders. Marcus Crandall gets another crack at it. 14 yards on the return. Wally asked me to say hi to his family spread out all over Western Canada this afternoon and watching the game.
Well, good
in
timing
Edmonton and Calgary. Yeah.
Good timing on the high, because that was a very good decision from the head coach to go ahead and punt the football. Now he's put it in the hands of Marcus Crandall.
And hi to Christy in particular out at Trinity Western in Langley, BC. Christy, you're supposed to call home and you can call collect tonight.
Oh, that's nice.
Crandall has Tunkara, and Alfonso Roundtree was there. He's played a nice game, hasn't he? Number 23 for Ottawa. The out-of-town final is here. The Argos bounce back and beat the Tiger Cats with pinball on the sidelines. Peterson makes the catch, and he'll have the first down on 2nd and 5 for the Stampeders. So this one isn't over yet. 1:06 to go.
It's interesting because now the Argos just 2 points back of the Ticats.
And Ottawa trying to hang on to this and stay within 1 point of the Argos.
That's right. So that's how important this drive is to Joe Paopao and this Renegade team.
Ticats cannot win on the road. Stampeders, first down. Crandall can't find anyone open. Takes off himself. A penalty marker is down. John Grace up to make the tackle, number 7 for Ottawa. It's a 3-point game with the home team on top, 16-13, and more drama added here.
Well, yeah,
when you think about a field goal possibility to tie and force overtime.
Well, yeah, 2 things. First of all, another penalty hurts the Calgary Stampeders. It's been a problem all game long. Second of all, now with just 56 seconds left, Mark McLaughlin has the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Well, that's exactly the talk about what might happen here if the Stampeders get a chance to kick for the tie. 17th penalty for 162 yards against Calgary. This is 1st and 20. Crandall has to look long. He won't get it away, but there's a penalty flag coming. Haywood got there.
Oh, they're going to say that
John Frank was there.
Yeah, but they're going to say that either Jerome Haywood or Frank grabbed the face mask of Marcus Crandall, and they may get a break.
Major foul, face mask, Ottawa, number 99, first down.
Jerome Haywood. And, you know, I don't think he did this intentionally because it looked like Crandall fumbled the football. When it fumbled up, Haywood went to slap at it, and that's when he got the face mask of Crandall.
Watch closely.
There's Frank. Here comes Haywood. The ball comes out, he reaches up. Well, it was actually John Frank who got his hand on the face mask, and Haywood was called for it. That's right.
So, more drama to go with 50 seconds remaining here.
Well, it's just, you know, it's on Mark McLaughlin right now, you know, and no question that Calgary will still try and put it in major and win this game.
Stampeders are still alive. Rob Johnson makes the catch there.
But see, the DBs, the defensive backs for the Ottawa Renegades are staying off enough. They're going to give up the underneath passes. They don't want to give up the touchdown. They're almost playing for overtime now. But again, the pressure on Mark McLaughlin coming into this game in his last 3. Just to remind people, 3 of his last 11. He had struggled in the last 3 games.
Don't forget, he has made 2 today, including 1 from 43.
He has made 2 today, should help his confidence. 43 and 32, but none with the pressure of the one he's going to face in a few seconds.
Second down, Calgary. 2 to go. Crandall puts it up. Peterson was the target. He got tied up with Ricky Bell on the coverage, and Wally wanted a call. Ricky Bell was covering.
Here he goes.
Longest career field goal for Mark McLaughlin, 58 yards, but that was in a different time when he wasn't thinking about it quite as much as he is now. Again, McLaughlin offered to turn over his job to Duncan O'Mahony prior to this game, and it was the talk in Calgary all week long. Last night, Stampeders decided they didn't want that to happen, and they wanted McLaughlin to kick today. So far, he's good on 2 of 2.
Kelly Wilshire reminding everybody he's going to call a late timeout to try and put that much more pressure on him, and reminding everybody on the defensive side to not be offside. And in such an important game for both of these coaches, it all comes down to the kicker to see if he can push it and extend this game and push it into the shootout.
39.2 seconds to play.
Now, if McLaughlin makes this, let's say it takes 3 or 4 seconds, there is still 25, 27 seconds when Dan Crowley gets another chance.
And all he needs is a single at that point
to win.
If McLaughlin makes this.
But the pressure on Mark McLaughlin right now, you know, when golfers talk about the hole just shrinks for them when they're putting and the struggles come in the putting game. Well, right now, those goalposts look about 1 inch apart.
Don Blair is the holder. Mark McLaughlin from the 42 with a game on the line. Has he got it? Yes, he has.
Good for him.
All even in Ottawa. McLaughlin is 3 for 3 this afternoon.
Good for him. You know, Wally Buono expects it. The coaches expect you to make that, but I worked with Dave Ridgway for years in Saskatchewan and know a thing or two about how these kickers, the pressure that's on them. Everybody wants the job of the kicker in practice during the week, and they make fun of it and they have fun, but you put the pressure on them like that after struggling like Mark McLaughlin has. The hold was there from Don Blair, and the gamble, and in some ways a gamble from Wally Buono to let Mark McLaughlin fight his way out of this slump has paid off for him.
Now there's still time for Ottawa to get more points on the board. Crowley is upended, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
And guess what? The pressure isn't completely gone now, because
he may have to kick a game winner.
He might have to do it again.
He may have a shot at the game winner. We came to the ballpark today fully expecting Duncan O'Mahony to be the place kicker for the Stampeders after what McLaughlin had announced earlier this week in Calgary.
You know, and every one of his teammates right now feel good for him. I mean, you obviously you want to see everyone play well, and everybody, Jock Klein, he talked about it. Every player that's crossed the stripe goes through times, games. Sometimes it's a group of 2 or 3 games where you're just not there. You don't know why. You analyze, you overanalyze. Mark McLaughlin came on the field, was the first guy out there, the last guy to leave. Prior to the teams, after they go back in and put the real pads on and then come out, he came back out again, kicked another half dozen, and he must have kicked 50, 60 balls in warm-up. It was very hot out there, but he is trying to work through this thing mentally. 3 for 3 this afternoon, and it looks like he's out of it.
Don't forget that this guy has been around the CFL for 15 seasons. He is also third in all-time scoring. He has kicked game winners in Grey Cups and Western playoff games. And I mean, this guy has been one of the CFL's best through his entire career. It's been a tough couple of weeks for Mark McLaughlin, but right now he's even. Here are the Renegades looking at 2nd and 10, and they'll have a completion and a first down with 23 seconds to go.
Now, wait a minute. I think they just waved it off, partner. That Malcolm Johnson looked like to me that he had it as well.
I thought he had it, Glenn. I really did. And he stretched out. Did he lose it? Coming down?
It was the official back here that came out and waved it down. But here he comes. A nice look over the middle. And I thought he had it. But right there, they're saying it slipped through his fingers and bounced off the turf back into his stomach, saying he dropped the ball. Now, rather than gamble here, you can't gamble if you're Joe Pow.
No,
because
not in a tie game at 16-16.
No, you have to punt this football away, and now Marcus Crandall may have a chance to move the ball with about 18 seconds. He'll get time for 3 or 4 plays.
I thought Johnson had it, but they got the call right. There's a flag down on the kick coverage. This is Antonio Warren out across the 40. He's to the 45 with 10.7 seconds to go.
You know, Antonio
But
Warren,
there's a penalty against Calgary coming here.
See what the penalty is. Antonio Warren probably should have headed for the sideline, tried to save some time. Down to 10 seconds now. He gives Crandall basically one play, try and get it up over the Renegade 50-yard line, see if McLaughlin can try and hit a deep one. Remember, now he can kick a single. He can miss wide. As long as it goes through the end zone and out, they can win this football game.
Well, and you can also look to O'Mani at that point and punt it right through.
Yeah, but I think what you do is you put the field goal formation out, and teams have actually done this, and it's actually one of the plays that has been criticized at times.
Number 6, decline.
If they did get it,
Ottawa,
and it was a long attempt, John, if they did get it, you put in the field goal formation and you kick for the corner. And the reason is because in the field goal formation, the holder where the ball is placed is 7 yards back from the center. In the punt formation, it's 15 yards. So you really need a huge punt to get it out of the end zone. Whereas a kicker can be a little more directional, and he doesn't have as far to kick it.
10 seconds to go. Marcus Crandall, one chance.
Oh, there you go.
To get close. And Johnson makes the catch this time.
Now
4.3 seconds to go. It's a 52-yard field goal try.
Wally Buono right now is trying to decide if he has time for one more shot, one more play. 4.3 seconds, that would be a huge gamble. I think he's going to go and try it right now. McLaughlin on the season, his longest so far this year, 48 yards. And the pressure back on him again. 3 for 3 this afternoon.
If he's 4 for 4, the Stampeders win. If he's a little wide, they can still win this in a 16-16 tie.
Now the Ottawa Renegades will put 3 players in the back, including Harper. They put Archie Turner back there. And the kicker, Lawrence Tynes. They got him spread across the back end there. There's the 3 of them right there.
Lawrence Tynes and Archie Turner have no idea what's going on, do they?
Well, they
have not seen the kick-out rule in Canadian football.
They haven't executed it, but I guarantee you they've practiced it. So now they've got to, if they field this football anywhere near the goal line, they run it out. If they catch it deep on a miss, they have to kick it out.
This
Hang
is
on,
true drama. If McLaughlin hits this after what he's been through, he won't get it there. Well short. And the Renegades come up with the ball and draw penalty markers there. So this game cannot end on a penalty. Zeros on the clock. So he was 3 for 3, but looking at a 52-yarder there.
You know, the way
he didn't come close.
The way, John, he lunged at that ball, it almost looked like he was trying to angle it. You know, it didn't look like he took his regular step.
He was aiming for the 3. He was aiming for out of bounds.
Aiming
just
for the
into
corner.
The end zone.
You know, because all he had to do was get it inside the corner, get across the goal line, and then out of bounds. And he really lunged at that football almost like he was trying to do that.
Even at 16,
But
still sorting out the penalty markers down near the 15-yard line.
Well, they'll likely just
No yards. Calgary number 68, decline.
Yeah, just decline that
So there
and
you
go
go.
right to overtime. And we got a shootout coming up.
Let's go to the shootout. Why not? 16-16. There's back at Frank Clair Stadium. We're ready for another shootout. Renegades began their season with a shootout against Saskatchewan.
You know, here's how it works. Two teams play a maximum of 2 mini games. Each team scrimmages from the 35. If they score, whatever points they get, the other team has to match. If they match, they go back to the opposite end and do it all over again. If no points are scored, no one gets the extra point. They end up in a tie.
You're getting pretty good at that because we've done it a few times this season. 6th overtime that we've seen in the CFL this year. Talked about Ottawa and Saskatchewan week 1.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about it is that most times you have the coin toss again. Most teams that win the toss will elect to go on defense first to see what they have to match. Ottawa won the toss here and elected to take the ball first.
So the Renegades have first crack in the shootout. A home run toss right off the bat. No penalty markers on the coverage on Reggie Jones. So it'll be second down.
You mentioned that game to start the season for Ottawa. In that game, one that Saskatchewan ended up winning in overtime. Ottawa on offense, when they did have a chance to try and match Saskatchewan, tried to run a reverse, lost yards, and were out of field goal range. And you can bet that they've learned from that and will go forward with the football, whether it be throwing or running. Because right now, even if you don't move an inch, you're in field goal range.
And the Renegades have Lawrence Tynes, who's been hot, as their field goal kicker. Crowley looked for the same target, and Reggie Jones couldn't bring it down.
You know, and that's one that Reggie Jones again has to come down with, as we've seen this quite a often time throughout this game from both sides, and it's down and then across the middle. Tough throw. It's a hard throw over the middle. This is a tough one to bring down, but Reggie Jones has to come up with. That's a first down, and the sticks keep moving. Chance for the major.
So here it is. Lawrence Tynes will look to put up 3 and charge Mark McLaughlin with the responsibility of matching, or the Stampeders of scoring the touchdown to win it outright. He's got it. So Lawrence Tynes has given Ottawa the advantage here at 1916. Now Calgary has been involved in overtime games twice this season. Losses against Hamilton on a missed field goal and against Winnipeg, and that was that wild game that the Stampeders actually handed back to the Bombers after having the big lead.
Well, now Wally Guano's in a bit of an advantage because he knows that he just needs a field goal to match. If it was a major, he's got to play 3-down football. Now that it's a field goal, he can play more conservatively, even run the ball if he wants, try and move it down in close. If he doesn't get it, he just sends the field goal team out to match. They play again.
Here's Crandall, his first opportunity in the shootout. Kelvin Anderson couldn't hang on.
And remember, an interception ends it.
Troy Aspel was covering on Kelvin Anderson, sliding out of the backfield.
That's a little dump pass, and again, the conservative play calling now for Calgary and Jacques Chapdelaine, Wally Guano, because just the field goal is all they're worried about. Mark McLaughlin come on right now. They don't have to play another down to max out. It doesn't alleviate
That's not to match. I mean, that's only to match, not to win, right? At this point, or at least on this set of downs. Second try. Crandall. And the coverage was too tight. Roundtree was there. Rob Johnson was the intended receiver. We have talked a lot about Alfonso Roundtree this afternoon.
Well, he and Gerald Vaughn have just locked down those slapbacks. Rob Johnson, and at times when Don Blair's got inside, you know, Blair started off strong, but Alfonso Roundtree and Gerald Vaughn really shut the door. Remember, this is a secondary that had 2 injuries to start the game. Vernon Mitchell, Ricky Bell. Vernon Mitchell didn't come back. Ricky Bell did return. Now the pressure again on Mark McLaughlin.
He made his first 2 from 43 and 32, and he missed his last opportunity. It has been a struggle for Mark McLaughlin, but he can keep the Stampeders alive right here if he puts this one through. He's got it.
Well, we go one more time. Now this time they go down to the opposite end of the field so that the fans at the opposite end can take a look at a little shootout.
I think this is terrifically exciting. I really, really enjoy the shootout rule. When they first went to the overtime format and had 4 possessions, it got a little bit long for everybody, but I think 2 possessions is pretty cool.
Well, and the only thing I would change with it, and because I love it as well, is I'd make it absolute. No point. Like, they both have 1 point in the standings.
Well, you're not
right
giving
now.
the overtime loss thing that confuses everyone when you look at the standings.
It's the shootout. If you remain tied, then you each get 1. But if you win in the shootout, you get both, and the other team gets the
goose
donut.
egg.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would change. But you know, the format is exciting. Gives a chance to, you know, for both quarterbacks to go after scoring plays right away on the 35-yard line where you start. And it's a way to settle the issue, because in the old format, when they just play 5-minute halves, a lot of the game was played between the 30s. In the middle of the field, punting the ball back and forth, both teams not wanting to lose the game rather than going aggressively to win it. This allows offenses to go aggressively to the end zone, try and win the game in a shootout format, and I think it's been very successful in the CFL since they've adopted it.
Well, we've seen some great moments in extra time in shootouts in the CFL. So Dan Crowley at the controls for the Ottawa Renegades. His first chance. They'll get a strike. Jimmy Oliver climbs up and over and is finally tossed down at the 20-yard line. So the Renegades are a little closer to the goal line.
The upside of taking the ball first, which Ottawa did in that first series, and now they've got it first this time, is if you do score a touchdown, now you've certainly put the pressure on the opponent, especially in this case it would be Calgary, who's on the road. So that's the upside. The downside is Calgary knows they're going to play 3-down football.
Fresh set of downs. Crowley looks for the touchdown. Malcolm Johnson was the intended receiver, and they couldn't connect. When we're done here this afternoon, we're off to the NASCAR circuit for the Dover 400. Coming up immediately after CFL on TSN this afternoon.
Now, Dan Crowley really doesn't have to go for the end zone here. He's 2nd and 10. He gets the first down. He's inside the 10-yard line. It opens the playbook a little bit more. Doesn't necessarily have to force the ball to the end zone.
Crowley under the coverage, and he threw it behind the intended receiver. And there were Stampeders thinking that could have been an intercepted ball down there as it deflected well wide.
It's been a tough year for Greg Frères, to say the least, and I believe it was him that ball bounced off his shoulder pads. He played with a cast on his hand for most of the year. That cast is off now, but he has a chance to put Calgary right in the driver's seat. That one bounced off his shoulder pads on the deflection, and he hangs on to that. And when Calgary gets the ball, they can line up the field goal team on first down.
Absolutely, in 1919. The interception would have done that. Here's the Renegades. And Tynes is 2 for 2. So the Stampeders have the right to match.
But now they need the field goal or the touchdown to win it. So
right to match or win with a touchdown.
And that's where it's exactly where that interception comes in. And it has been a tough struggle. And in fairness to Greg Frères, he has had so many changes in the secondary at times. I'm sure he's had to try and cover up for mistakes from the other players and guys that are newcomers to the lineup trying to find their way, like Jason Bray, you know, and guys like that. And he had a chance to put Calgary in the driver's seat if he can hang on to that ball.
But as it stands right now, we're still looking at a pile of pressure being heaped on Mark McLaughlin.
One more
the Stampeders don't move the football here. So it's up to the Renegades defense. Crandall Looks for the touchdown toss. He's got it. Stamps win. Camus Peterson has the victory for the Calgary Stampeders. And Calgary remains alive for a playoff spot in the CFL West.
Baby.
It could be a long way back.
Peterson on Ricky Bell, and he does a nice little hesitation step at the end and then just gathers that ball up. Aggressive play calling from the Calgary Stampeders. Their backs were against the wall coming into this game in Ottawa on the road, a game they just had to win. Come out in the second shootout, the second overtime period, and here comes Marcus Crandall. Aggressive play calling, puts the ball up, gives Camus Peterson a chance to run under it.
Woo.
And he makes sure of the catch. And that takes a little pressure off Mark McLaughlin.
Well, it's all off Mark McLaughlin because the convert after this touchdown toss is really not important to the Calgary Stampeders.
But that 1 point that they get for that throw certainly is, especially in that West Division. And from a guy who often doesn't show emotion like that, you can tell how important that game is to Calgary and that win is.
So the Stampeders move within 2 of the British Columbia Lions, who are idle this week, meaning there's still hope for the defending Grey Cup champions to make a run in the CFL West, and it's disappearing quickly for the Renegades without running the table here. They do pick up the point for the overtime loss, but the Argos won this afternoon, folks. So that leaves Ottawa still 2 points back of Toronto in the race for 3rd spot in the East.
Well, you can see the emotion on the face of Joe Paopao. Just battled, put Dan Crowley in the game, paid off, he got the lead. But, you know, when you talk about the pressure that was on Mark McLaughlin coming into this game, to hit that field goal to tie it from way back and extend this game for Calgary.
Yeah, well, let's give the game ball to Mark McLaughlin. I don't think you'll get any argument here. Game ball is brought to you by SportCheck.ca, Canada's choice for sports. He made the field goals when it mattered most.
Fighting back from a ton of adversity. Good for him.